Okay, we should be live. Hopefully we are. I'm gonna need to keep an eye on the. Yep, there we go. So
Hey.
we are set. Welcome everyone to the first edition of EBAP. We're going to. What? Who's snickering? Who snickered?
Wasn't me. I came up with the name.
Somebody
I
laughed.
didn't do it.
It was Ghost, wasn't it?
I'm sorry.
Giggling in the background at the name.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
it is a funny name because it's a play off of EFAP that Zenn came up with, and I always thought the name EFAP was funny because of what fat means.
Well, yeah.
But yeah. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be watching the most recent and final United States presidential debate. I believe it was Thursday night, so we're coming at this a little late, but a bunch of us were very busy this weekend, so there really was no opportunity to do it. I watched this live and watched the whole thing live. I think, Alex, you said you watched only like the last third of it, and it was only kind of off to the side. You really weren't paying attention. Did either of you, Ghosts or Zenn, did you guys watch the debate?
I watched it live. Despite being in the UK, it was playing at like 4 in the morning.
Yeah, Phoenix and I streamed it.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Very good. So then you guys should have some idea of places you might want to stop. So if you guys,
and I'm just gonna let you guys stop. I'm just gonna get going and enjoy the moment.
Yeah, there you
enjoy the debate.
I was gonna say I figure it's just going to be once every sentence goes through, and then we stop the stream and like discuss it.
I mean, we could do that if we wanted to go on for
sentence.
6 hours.
Well, yeah. This is an offshoot of EFAP, so you know.
I'm gonna hard limit this to a 3-hour max. So because the rest of us have lives and jobs and everything.
Don't know.
I have to work tomorrow.
I do. I have to get up for work in the morning, so I can't stay up too late. But thankfully, you don't have a job, Zenn, because then you get to stay up with us.
Yeah.
So
I suppose we could make a part 2 if we have to like stop halfway through the debate. We
can maybe, but I think by the time we get back to this, if this will be old news, I mean, we might not even be able to do one before the election, so it might not matter. Anyway, regardless. I'm gonna go ahead and switch us over to the actual debate here. So now y'all should be able to see that, and everybody's following along with us.
Mm-hmm.
We're ready to go. All right, and I think this is right before the moderators already sat down, so we're gonna have them come on in. So let's take a look.
I was going to say, we should be able to skip most of the preamble.
Oh, wow. It totally just screwed me there. I had it set up and everything.
What's up?
It just skipped to the beginning. Why is it doing that?
It's playing fine for us.
But I went to start it here.
Oh, okay. There we go. Okay. I was going to say we could skip the first, 20 minutes.
That's what I was trying to do.
All right. There we go. And it's all awkwardly quiet.
Oh, look at those beautiful banners. The Commission on Presidential Debates. This is the commission, guys. We are the commission. I am the commission.
And from what I hear, this host was actually pretty good instead of that trash heap Chris Wallace that was there for the first one. So.
She was a lot better. She was a lot better than Chris Wallace in that she didn't. She actually did ask some questions of Biden that were good questions.
Yeah, but guys,
I think one thing you got to bear in mind is I do not think the moderator picks the questions.
Good evening from Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee.
Really, it's more her attitude of how she says things,
rather
than the questions themselves.
Well, we've barely started. We're already pausing. Yes, I agree. I think but there were some times where she kind of the way she reacted to what Biden said. She was like there was one point where Joe Biden, I think it was about the fracking thing. He's like, yeah, we're going to completely get rid of fracking and move away from fossil fuels entirely. And she's like,
she says, well, no, it's on your website.
Well, she said he goes out and hangs himself with this rope. And she goes, why would you do that? Like she just says it like
Yeah.
that's a stupid idea, you know.
Well, should we get to it then? Should we get
Yes.
through it and we'll talk
Well,
about it
no,
when we get
well,
to it?
But I wanted to add something real quick. I just wanted to say, like, okay, she might have been a good moderator, but then again, but to compare her to Chris Wallace, I mean, I honestly think, honest to God, I think Hillary Clinton would have been a better moderator herself than Chris Wallace.
Yeah, Chris
I
Wallace
just
really.
don't see
Who
how
else
you
is
could have
in
been.
ThinkTube? A fifth person's just joined this.
What?
What?
What do you
A
mean?
fifth person has just joined the SyncTube for
Oh,
some reason.
nice.
Who the hell
Is Red Phoenix? Is that Red Phoenix Rises? Because he's in the Discord, and that's the only place we would have posted it.
Sticky recipe.
Yeah, there is a sticky recipe in the room apparently.
Interesting. Well, come
Well,
on
as long
and...
as they don't mess with it.
Yeah, come on and join us. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah.
Between
Without further ado, cheers to the debate.
And former Vice President Joe Biden. Tonight's debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates.
I don't
More
care.
than 40,000 Americans are in the hospital tonight with COVID, including record numbers here in Tennessee. And since the two of you last shared a stage, 16,000 Americans have died from COVID. So please be specific. How would you lead the country during this next stage of the coronavirus crisis? 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
Okay, so I think that's a... Oh, hang on. Can I not pause it? Oh, there we go. So I was going to say, I think that's a really fair question. You know, look, this has happened. How are you going to lead the country from here? She doesn't say, you know, how are you going to stop this? How are you going to, you know, she just says, what are you going to do? I think that's a really fair question to start with.
Yeah, I agree. This is fine. There are a couple times where the questions asked are loaded, but that was a good one.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yes, Chris Wallace was bad, and she did very well for what we expected, which was a complete hack job. She was not a complete hack job. I will give her that credit. Did she lean Biden? Yes, and you will see this. But
yeah,
in all fairness, she did an overall decent job. I could not complain about the moderator. If you're a Trump supporter, you can't say Trump got screwed by the moderator. I don't think.
I don't think so, no. But well, you know, maybe we'll spot something as we go. So
2.2 million people modeled out were expected to die. We closed up the greatest economy in the world in order to fight this horrible disease that came from China. It's a worldwide pandemic. It's all over the world. You see the spikes in Europe and many other places right now. If you notice, the mortality rate is down 85%. The excess mortality rate is way down and much lower than almost any other country. And we're fighting it, and we're fighting it hard. There is a spike. There was a spike in Florida, and it's now gone. There was a very big spike in Texas. It's now gone. There was a very big spike in Arizona. It's now gone. And there are some spikes and surges in other places. They will soon be gone. We have a vaccine that's coming. It's ready. It's going to be announced within weeks, and it's going to be delivered. We have Operation Warp Speed, which is the military is going to distribute.
Operation Warp Speed.
I'm all for it. Let's go.
That's hilarious. I love it.
But I want to hear what he says, what Operation Warp Speed is. He might actually answer the question.
Yeah.
The vaccine. I can tell you from personal experience that I was in the hospital.
He said that that's the operation to distribute the vaccine once it comes up.
Okay.
And I got better, and I will tell you that I had something that they gave me, a therapeutic, I guess they would call it. Some people could say it was a cure, but I was in for a short period of time, and I got better very fast, or I wouldn't be here tonight.
Therapeutic.
And now they say I'm immune. Whether it's 4 months or a lifetime, nobody's been able to say that, but I'm immune. More and more people are getting better. We have
the God Emperor shall never die.
Yeah, I have injected myself with this cure, and now I am immune. My
power is rising.
His power levels are rising.
Okay, so do we want to quickly stop and address what you've been saying about the cases? So
sure.
What were the three states he said? He said Florida, Arizona, and was it Texas?
Texas.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So I'm just checking, and yes, he's right. Florida, Arizona, and Texas all mid-September had a big spike, and then basically immediately. Hang on, I'll send you these actually if you want to show off the picturing.
Sure.
This was Texas, and that spike you see was the 21st of September. So yes, Texas had a ridiculous spike, and as he states, it is now gone. It seems to be, they are all in this kind of odd thing where it's very up and down. So I'm not sure what to make of that, but you know, considering in Europe we are effectively having a second wave effectively, and I will not sugarcoat things. We are having a second wave in Europe. Whether that's a bad thing or not, I'll leave for another discussion. But I think America's honestly having much better numbers than we are here. So,
yeah,
and if we look at deaths are very much gone. So I'm looking at Arizona. Again, Arizona had some rough deaths in July and May. They are effectively in the toilet now. They have not hit more than 20 for all of October.
It's amazing.
A day.
Wonderful news.
Florida,
compared to what it was a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot better.
And that's what you've got to pay attention. You've got to pay attention to the deaths rather than
you're right. The
cases.
If you've noticed in the news, you'll hear a lot about case totals, and that's interesting now that because the only other time you heard about deaths was when it hit 200,000 in the United States.
I will admit, Florida has been rough ever since July. Their deaths have been hitting either between 50 to up to 200 deaths a day.
But Florida
appears to be having a rough time.
Florida, that's proportionally though is about the same because Florida is a much larger state than Arizona in terms of population, if I'm correct.
Okay.
I mean, this is an EBAP, so we can pause for a while. Let's do Arizona population.
But yeah, Texas is it's in the ground effectively. They had
Arizona 7.4 million.
I think Florida's like 20 million.
Cases
Florida is 21 million. Yeah, so those numbers make sense given that's about what you would expect. That's 3 times. So you would expect around 75 to 100 or so deaths. So
yeah, so it's on par.
Yeah. And also you have to remember, you think about this as well. The populations of each of those states, Arizona does have a sizable retirement community. Some people do go there when they retire because they're like, it's dry weather, it never rains, it's always sunny, it's hot, but usually you can just stay inside. It's not a problem if you're old anyway. Where Florida is a huge destination. Like that's a meme in this country about that's where all people go to retire. So people live and work in states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio all their lives, and then they turn 65, they retire, and they move to Florida.
So it's kind of like the European equivalent of Italy. It's like there's just a lot of old people there.
Yeah,
and that's probably why it was rough.
And you're exactly. So you want to talk like there's a higher proportion of the population is more susceptible there than in Arizona. Which also then, if you think about, let's even get more galaxy brained about this. One of the big reasons why coronavirus spreads is on water droplets, moisture droplets, right? Therefore, the dry, hot state of Arizona is going to be terrible for transmission, whereas Florida, the hot, wet state, that's always humid. It's always like trying to inhale soup in Florida. The air there is so thick. Yep. So now that is a petri dish for this virus to get around. So those are
Texas
all...
Texas for the most part is also very dry, except for like the coastal region. So
yeah, except for like Houston, but other than Houston, it's pretty dry.
Pretty dry.
And so those are just some things to think about. The key thing is, yes, cases are up, but there's an argument to be made that maybe the virus is mutated or it's burned through a large portion of the population that was already susceptible to dying from it, to we've gotten better at diagnosing it and treating it. The tests are better and we're doing a lot more of them now, so we're finding more cases potentially that we weren't finding before. A whole bunch of possible factors that go into that would show that cases are up but deaths are down, hospitalizations are down.
Say, from the studies I'm looking at, it looks like literally every state's had a different situation on it. Like
Yeah, in terms of cases.
Georgia, it seems to have just not stopped. No, in case of deaths as well. I'm looking at the deaths.
Yeah.
Georgia's had a rough time of it all year, it seems.
Think about, for example, if a state didn't completely lock down, or let's say a state completely locked down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And didn't expose its population.
Oh, Christ.
And then all of a sudden they loosened it up. And then all those people that were vulnerable are now exposed, and now they die.
I do want to show one thing. So we're on deaths right now. So this is what I'm currently showing.
Can you get a better crop there so we can see the two axes? I can't see the bottom axis.
That's just date.
It would just be helpful for me to put on screen.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Much better.
So that's Arkansas. That's pick another one. I'll show you the Florida one. For deaths. I just want to point one thing out because I just looked. So you'll notice they're very spiky. It's constantly up and down, up and down, up and down. What was the one I mentioned earlier? Georgia is the same. Georgia just constantly up and down, and I'm not sure what's. They never stay up. It's constantly up and down, up and down. But then, if you tab over to New York, I will show you. That spike in March is terrifying. Oh no, sorry, that's early April. Because it went up and it stayed up. They were having 1,000 deaths a day, effectively.
That was here. So this is.
But it seems like everywhere has a second spike. There's always some level of second spike, whether it's in April or whether it's in September. There always is some level of secondary jump to it.
Well, that's probably a combination of reopening, colleges going back, schools going back, a whole bunch of stuff. So, but again, this is not like if you look at.
I just thought I'd comment on it.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
You know what's interesting is that these spikes actually coincide with a lot of the protesting. Like if you look, it says the 25th of April, so this is like early May, mid-May, and that's when the protests started. And then there was another set of protests somewhere around late June. And so you see these two spikes in New York, and it just makes you think.
Yeah, I think the other thing you should obviously point out is that none of this has anything to do with Trump, because this is states. You know, he's the president. Yeah. He can't. This is all down to state governors.
To be fair. Part of the reason that we care about the president in this is that one of the jobs of the executive is to be the emotional leader of the country. So even if it's like, he can't actually do anything physically, it's still like, okay, what are you gonna do about this? So I think that's not necessarily unfair to say, well, you're still the president. But I think we get the gist though for this, so I'm gonna go ahead and
we should get back to it. But I thought we'd just go over that quickly.
On. Yep.
So it does seem that those things, they have gone down. It is just happening. It's happening, and there's not much you can really do with it.
Well, yeah. So let's hear what the rest of what he has to say, then I think they move in and ask Biden the same thing.
Worldwide problem. This is a worldwide problem. But I've been congratulated by the heads of many countries on what we've been able to do.
The difference in color between his face and his hand always weirds me out.
Yeah.
Look at that. Oh God.
I mean,
that's all I want to say. I'm just memeing about it.
It's his shtick anymore, you know.
What with goggles and masks and gowns and everything else, and in particular ventilators.
He's playing the accordion.
He is a little bit.
Now
he's
making ventilators
the invisible titty
all over the world, thousands and thousands a month, distributing them all over the world. It will go away, and as I say, we're rounding the turn, we're rounding the corner. It's going away.
Okay, former Vice President Biden, to you, how would you lead the country out of this crisis?
Let's hear the Crypt Keeper.
You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
220,000 Americans dead. If you hear nothing else I say tonight,
hear this.
We need to write a wall
for not taking control.
Abolish viruses.
Yeah. Hang on. Let's let him get a little bit deeper into his point, and then we'll pause.
I take no responsibility initially. Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as President of the United States of America. We're in a situation where there are 1,000 deaths a day now, 1,000 deaths a day. And there are over 70,000 new cases per day. Compared to what's going on in Europe, as the New England Medical Journal said.
Oh, man. This has not aged well in the past couple days, has it?
You're going to have to tell me about this.
Well,
has it gone down?
No, Europe is spiking like crazy.
Oh, dude,
Europe's having a meltdown.
Well, hang on.
I know Europe. Trust me, I know Europe's going bad. I'm just saying, like, I meant things in America changed.
Not really. I mean, it's like you saw those spikes, and then it's kind of calmed down. Basically, here, let's let him go a little farther because he's talking about the citation that he's going to give. So, hang on a second.
Okay.
So they're starting from a very low rate. We're starting from a very high rate. The expectation is we'll have another 2.
Yeah, so he's trying to argue.
What, just finish. What's he about to say? I want to hear this expectation real quick.
100,000 Americans dead between now and the end of the year.
Bullshit. 200,000 dead in 2 months? No.
Yeah, that was quite something. I remember thinking. So I just want to share some stats that I've been browsing while I watch. So on average in the United States, 7,000 people die, nearly 8,000 every day. That was in 2017. That was the average. About 8,000 people die every day. I also found another stat, which was the leading causes of death. So influenza generally kills about 55,000 people every year. Diabetes kills about 80,000 people every year. At least I believe that's how I'm reading this right. If anyone wants to also look at these stats while I'm going over them. So, I mean, here's the thing. One thing we've noticed in, at least in the Europe, is that COVID deaths are up, flu deaths are down. So it is not an unfair belief to say it is very possible that flu deaths are being counted as coronavirus deaths, and thus this isn't really a big deal. This is what happens.
Or similar to that would be that instead of the flu killing that person, the coronavirus killed them. Because they're similar diseases in that they attack your respiratory system.
Well, it says literally in this thing I filed, and I think I believe what I'm looking at that I've shared is yearly, where it says numbers of deaths for leading causes of death, and then it gives a number. I assume that number means per year.
I believe so.
It says that chronic lower respiratory diseases, 160,000. Now that going up to 220,000 in like a year where this is going on, that seems within expectation to me. Especially considering we are literally telling people to stay in their homes, don't go out and get sunlight, don't bolster their immune system, and they are instead staying in their homes and effectively just vegetating.
Well, the problem is that's not the only chronic lower respiratory is a little different. That's not the same. That's not the same thing.
I'm not a doctor.
That's more like your emphysemas and things.
I don't even know what that is.
That's like what you get from smoking. It's one of the things you get from smoking. But anyway, I think a point that's important to note here is the influenza deaths are in the 50,000 range a year. We have a vaccine for influenza. Most people get vaccines for influenza, and we still have 50,000 people dying every year. So what are we saying? Are we saying that is it really that crazy to say that this disease that's very similar to the flu in how it attacks your body and that it attacks your lungs, so people who have respiratory issues, people who have heart issues are very susceptible to it as opposed to people without those conditions? If we did not have an influenza vaccine, would that number be 200,000 right now? And if so, then really all we're doing is saying, if that number is 200,000, okay, Or if it's higher than that, then we would be saying, well, then it's good that we brought it down to 200,000 because it could have been worse. And then the question is, okay, once we come up with a vaccine for coronavirus, are we ever going to completely get rid of coronavirus deaths? No, we're probably going to have 50-some thousand a year, give or take, along with influenza.
Yeah.
So I think those are all important things to think about when it comes to this data. But that was some good stuff. That's important to point out. So he's shaking the mask here. So let's hear him virtue signal about wearing a mask.
Wear the mask. Wear the mask.
Okay, so before we even get
200,000 dead.
Before we even get into it, let me say this.
Actually,
I am
go for it. Yeah.
I am not against wearing of a mask. I think in tight, closed spaces, more power to you if you want to wear a mask. It's stupid for the state to mandate it, number one. State should mandate any piece of clothing, other than as long as you don't have your junk out, right? Like, other than that, I don't care. And then if like you're saying that people are wearing them, like, I'll drive to work and I'll see people on the way into work that have masks in their car by themselves.
In their own car by themselves. It's like, oh, I need to wear a mask.
What are you
I see people
doing?
outside walking around outside by themselves, instead of enjoying the fresh air, they're putting their mask on. I'm like,
hey, I'm gonna say this, Shandy. I just because you just said, you don't want the government to mandate it. So long as you've not got your junk swinging out, it doesn't. State shouldn't mandate it. I'm not gonna lie. This entire thing has made me think. I don't think the government should be able to mandate what you wear, junk or no junk, quite frankly, because that is a moral opinion.
Radical libertarian.
That's where we've come to. This is where we've come to when we've allowed the government to decide our morality, is they can now force us to wear the mask. Now, I actually, if you bear in mind, we are at 29:29. I want to skip to the end of the debate and point something out about Biden. Okay. I want to show you something. So,
well hold on.
Wait. What do you want to say here, Ghost?
Well, but before we skip and continue, I just wanted to briefly mention something.
Yeah.
How many of y'all, it depends the average age of the group, but how many remember how many remember 9/11 very specifically and the response to it?
I do.
Yeah. Shandy, you do? You do?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm almost 30, so I remembered it pretty vividly. I actually was homeschooled for 1 year in my life, and that was the year it happened. So I actually slept in that morning, and then my mom came and woke me up when she's like, "Oh my God, they've attacked the Twin Towers." I was just a kid, so I didn't know what the hell that meant. And I walked out, and as I was walking out into the living room, I saw the second plane hit the second tower.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
Because it was all over the TV at the time. And they were like, something happened to the tower here. It's on fire. We don't know what's going on. Boom! And there goes the second one. And they're like, okay, this is probably a terrorist attack.
What's Ghost saying?
The point of this is, remember the creation. So there was the stocks for the airlines just plummeted.
Yeah.
There was a lot of concern about air travel. Like the moral efficacy of air travel came up in conversation. People were freaking out. Bush and friends passed a bunch of different bills, creating
Patriot
a bunch
Act.
of different departments. Well, not even just Patriot Act, because that's
TSA.
That's a wonderful Joe Biden thing. But Department of Homeland Security, Immigrations and Custom Enforcement, all these various organizations that used to operate under some smaller jurisdictions. Were just pumped up with kind of the steroids of the state. And I remember specifically the TSA and the evolving rules of the TSA. Well, first it was, you gotta, what is it? You just can't bring weapons. And then it's if you have a water bottle, what about shampoo? Shampoo's bad.
Gotta take your shoes off.
The shoes. Listen, we know for a fact, because the FBI tested this, that the TSA is almost completely ineffective. And what we also know about it is that essentially this is statecraft. The mandates, the talk, it's all to just calm people down.
Security theater. Yeah,
security theater, because we're in a country that really hasn't seen that much scary stuff. And as soon as a scary thing happens that's beyond American control, everyone loses their minds. And when America loses their minds, the entire world has to lose their mind too, because that's just what happens. And so, the mask mandates and all this stuff, all this is just to so that the population doesn't get antsy enough to start, burning some federal buildings and stuff like that.
Yep. Put the pacifier in. Put the pacifier in the mouth.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
essentially, yeah.
Well, hang on.
I was about to say, should we keep this to the debate mostly? But yeah, I get that.
Yeah, shut up, Ghost.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, no, I get what you mean, but
cracking the whip.
It's just that we're on a time limit. That's all.
Yes.
If we had a full 6 hours to go through the debate, I wouldn't mind you talking about this. But it's like we've got to get this.
Shut
Everyone
up,
else
Ghost.
went on a tangent.
Shut up.
Damn it.
So, all right, go ahead, skip where you want to skip to.
Okay, so we're 29. I just want to point out, so the masks, we wear masks because if you, okay, so let's say from a personal perspective, I would wear a mask because if I have the coronavirus, the small microscopic flecks of spittle that come from my mouth when I talk or when I breathe can't hit someone else and infect them. Okay.
Right.
Fair
enough.
Understand that concept. I understand that as a concept. But Mr. Biden, if you truly worry so much about this disease, give me a second. I'll skip forward here. It won't let me play.
It did not skip me for what timestamp?
I'm trying to get it to right at the end where his wife walks in.
What's the timestamp? Give me the timestamp.
1:57:30-ish.
So I actually want to make a comment about this really quick as we get to that, because we have to. I brought us here. Everybody should be seeing Melania now. And,
no, I can't. For me, it's oh, there we go. No, it's gone back to 29:30 now.
Hang on.
SyncTube's a bit shifty. Again.
There we go.
We should try and get Robert.
What the hell? What is the point?
All I have to say.
Is watch together better.
Yeah, let's do that. Give me a second, guys. Let's switch on over to there.
Oh God. Okay.
Here, everybody, take a look at what is this? Florida's case totals or whatever. Here, to look at that spike. Yeah, look at that spike.
Say.
Okay.
Biden just keeps trying.
Give me a link. Tube. Yeah, give me a link.
Watch together.
Ghosts of because I don't know. Because it doesn't pop up when I Google it. At least it didn't last time.
It did for me. Immediately. Create a room. Join the room. Right.
Okay. Be the room. Embrace the room.
So Biden's trying to talk. The reason he keeps interrupting.
You hear all the time about diamonds, direct prices, and selection and warranties.
Oh my
all true.
God.
Debate.
Sorry, guys. You probably just got blasted if you're a headphone listener. I apologize.
Oh, have you managed to get the link working? Or
I got Watch Together here, but I haven't gotten the video up yet. I have to find.
Gotta hurry up, or Biden's gonna fall asleep. He's already dozing. He's starting to doze off. So gotta give him some some drugs.
I've got the link working. I don't know if I can just add you to this. I'm not sure if that's how it works.
Do you have Watch Together up already?
Yep, there we go. If you just click that should bring you into it. Fingers crossed. So I'm skipping through the video. Are you seeing it skipping through the video?
I'm not seeing anything just yet.
Okay, I see you guys in the chat. You're all just users and letters.
Okay.
Yeah, I see you skipping. I see you skipping.
Yes.
Good. Right.
Can I get this? Oh, that's right. I couldn't full screen this. I'm gonna need to. Wait. This is the first one. You have the wrong link.
Oh no.
This is the first presidential debate.
Is this the first one?
Yeah,
we went the second one. I was like, I saw Chris Wallace's ugly mug.
Link me the video then. Link me the video.
This is failing epically.
It is.
Wait, no, it's not. Hang on.
Terrible streaming.
Okay. Apologies. It's our first EBAP. There's always gonna be problems.
Okay.
Get that goblin off the screen, Chris Wallace. Get him out of there.
Right. Okay. So, skipping to the end. So watch him. His wife comes up.
Hang on. I don't have it. I don't have us up here. Hang on a second. I wanted to full screen. There we go. Now I can.
Oh, there is a full screen button. There we go.
I was concerned that it wasn't, but yeah. So
there is, but I think the time bar disappears when you get the full screened.
It does. Yeah. Hang on.
Right.
This sucks. Let me do something.
You're just gonna like make it small.
Well, I gotta select this display capture, and I think can I do a?
No.
I can't just do a selection.
Can you not like crop it?
No, it doesn't let me.
Oh, and there goes Ghost.
Wow.
Rip.
Rip in
Ghost
peace.
F in the chat. He's had enough. He's like, this is ridiculous.
This streaming's terrible. Look, just leave it as small. It's fine.
I don't wanna.
Look at Biden's eyes though. Doesn't he look deranged just in that?
I haven't got Biden up for me. It's Melania like walking up in her black dress.
Really?
I think that's Melania. Yeah.
Well, I was looking up the link, the watch together thing.
Yeah, I'm on Watch Together. Oh, in the Watch Together link, right? Okay. Oh, that's dreadful. Hello, Kayla Carrigan has joined. What's it? Hang on, let me open the bloody stream so I can see you.
Now I see Melania.
Oh, it is just the bloody the thumbnail.
Yeah, I don't. Okay.
Well,
this is gonna have to be good enough.
I was gonna say that's fine. That's fine. It's you can see the little bits at the edge, but that doesn't matter.
It does matter. It's messing with my autism. But all right, let's just do this.
Okay.
Screw it.
Click that. It should skip.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
It sucks. All right, go ahead.
You need to click it because it's playing for me. It's fine.
Oh.
Who's pausing it, by the way? Is someone pausing it all?
I'm not even touching it.
Okay,
this
Shandy,
sucks,
you need to click the play. You need to click the big play button. There we go.
I have been.
$100 trillion. That's their significantly. I said here. We are on the road to success.
Is it skipping fine for you guys?
All right. Yes. I want to thank you both for a very robust hour and a half.
My point I was trying to
really
make
appreciate it.
was
President
that
Trump, former.
His wife comes up. Right. Wife comes up. She's got a mask on. He's got a mask on.
Right.
And then they like press masks at each other.
They kiss. They kiss with the mask. How cute.
That destroys the point of the mask.
It does. It absolutely destroys it. You're right.
If you've got the mask on, that's to make sure you don't spread to someone else. But if you're going to press your mask against someone else's mask, that ruins the point of wearing the mask.
Jill Biden, the mistress. Yep. Bad move by her.
God.
Dear me. Right. So that was the point I want to make. It is a lot of people, especially I've noticed, especially the people who are saying wear the mask, they don't wear the masks right. Yeah. And they like literally compromise their masks, you know.
Right.
And I mean, Christ. And that's before you even get to the point where the fabric masks don't work. Just open and shut. They don't work. It's been proven. Most of these masks,
you need to have the surgical mask. You need to have the professional ones, the little cloth things. Like they look nice, but it's not really. It's kind of defeating the purpose.
They don't work, and that's why I gave up on them. Because if they're not going to say you need to wear an actual mask that does something, I don't wear the masks anymore. And if anyone questions me, I'll just tell them I've got asthma, and then they literally can't bitch at me anymore.
Right.
So, I mean, that's how it is in the UK. A lot of us are kind of just sick of it, so we don't really give too much of a shit, thankfully.
Oh, no, I'm sick of it as well.
I don't know. I'm so sick of, like, people, because it's like, we've gotten to a point where, like, people will almost prostrate themselves, like, I do wear the masks. I'm questioning the lockdown, but I do wear the mask. Like, no, Sodom. It doesn't work. It's been proven not to work. It's about controlling you, so stop buying into the narrative.
And then there's the people like Shandy said, where they're like, oh, you know, I'm driving in my car. I need to wear the mask and everything. Can't even function.
I'm saying that I think that it's totally understandable that if you're in close quarters with someone and you're just trying to stop spittle from coming out of your mouth, which is where a lot of the virus will live. It's not going to stop something that's airborne, but it's not airborne. It's aerosolized. There is a difference. The particle sizes are much different. So the point I'm making is simply there's no problem in my mind of in a closed building where you're amongst a bunch of different people that you don't know and don't live with. That's fine. Like at work or at the grocery store or something. Okay. But when you walk outside, there's no one around you. You're in your own car by yourself. If you wear a mask, that's stupid. Yeah. That is an IQ test. Because and it's one thing to say, look, I'll wear the mask because I don't want to bother anyone, and do I really care if I get it? No, but if I have it, I don't want to necessarily give it to somebody else. It's not that big of a deal. It's fine. Yeah. But if you do it outside in the open air and you do it in your car, that's stupid. Anyway, we were back. Let's go back.
Let's get back to Skeletor. Let's go back to Skeletor holding his mask.
Yeah. Well, I can't quite get 29, so 2921 will do.
That's fine. Let's do that.
Already, Watch Together's working so much better.
Well, it's not playing on my end, so
we're on Watch Together?
No, it's not. Hang on, let me hit play. Hello.
Are you all right?
It's not working.
Okay, so two of you have gone. One of you has gone white in the bottom as opposed to green. I'm not sure if that means you need to.
I'm joining in again.
Right, there we go.
100,000 Americans
so you're on 26, 27.
Time between now and the end of the year.
Good.
Yeah, I see Skeletor now.
I think you desynced yourself somehow. It might be because I'm the host. I've got to control it now.
100,000 lives, and we're in a circumstance where the president thus far and still has no plan. No comprehensive plan. What I would do is...
Wait. He just said his plan.
He just said his plan. Biden, let's hear your plan.
He just said, we're not going to lock down. We're going to distribute the vaccine as soon as possible.
Yeah. What else can he do?
Operation, whatever it's called, he's doing it.
But Trump literally just said, that is my plan, is I'm going to attempt to... We're going to do what we can... but again, 10th Amendment, you can't just mandate things to states. It's all on a state-by-state basis. Trump has given his, and as you say, emotional support, but Trump used to be doing, weekly, updates of, yep, we're working on the vaccine, we're doing what we can, we're making do.
Yeah, but again,
I think... still does them, it's just the media doesn't publish it anymore.
I did hear about that.
The problem, though, that I'm having right now with this is... He's not saying he has no plan, because he does have a plan. He told us his plan. He doesn't have a plan that does enough in his mind, because it doesn't lock us back up. It doesn't, give billions of dollars to people again, just because we're just going to print money and keep people afloat that way by just handing them out money. That's what he's talking about.
I want to hear Skeletor's plan. I want to hear it unfold.
You're right.
To make sure everyone encouraged to wear a mask all the time. I would make sure we move in the direction of rapid testing, investing in rapid testing. I would make sure that we set up national standards as to how to open up schools and open up businesses so they can be safe.
That's not up to you.
And give them the wherewithal, the financial resources to be able to do that. We're in a situation now where...
It doesn't matter. That's not to him. He's just going to say it.
Yes.
Welcome to democracy.
Well, he's gonna say, we need to do fast testing. We are doing fast testing now. We need to have a federal plan, a national plan for businesses and schools. That's stupid, because every state is different. The difference between Wyoming and New York is vast. Right, there are no massive population centers in Wyoming. I think the biggest city in Wyoming is Cheyenne. There's maybe 100,000 people in Cheyenne.
Yeah, I've been to Cheyenne. It's very small. It's one main street and that's it. So very small.
Jesus.
Yeah, and that's the city in Wyoming, as opposed to New York City, 8 million people all shoved into a few square miles. You can't say those two places have to do the exact same things. That's stupid. It makes no sense. Also, who's going to get all the food? Everyone check out, I'm going to show my own channel here. I did a video about how lockdowns sacrifice the working class, because this whole idea of we need to shut everything down is just for the middle class. Because guess who still has to go out and grow the food and give you your DoorDash and everything? The working class. So there's still people that can't lock down. They're not allowed to, because somebody has to work in the fields.
Essential workers.
Yeah. And so we're saying, fuck them, basically. They can die. It's all right. If let's say you imagine that this virus is as deadly as everyone thought it was months ago, right? So let's say you think that, because there are some people who still think that. People who are going to vote Biden think that. So if you're a Biden,
my dad and my brother both think that, and I presume my mother does as well.
If you're a Biden supporter and you think this is the next plague, right? Then you can't say we should just lock down without saying fuck the working class and fuck all the farmers and all the delivery drivers and all the people that work in the food factories that process the food and all the Uber Eats and the DoorDashers and everything. All of those people, fuck them. Let them die. I don't care.
Pretty much.
I work at a desk and basically don't ever have to interact with a human being face to face to do my job. I'll just work at home because I'm staying home to flatten the curve for like a year. You know, this is the part that bothers me so much about people who advocate for lockdowns. You don't see people who work in the field saying, yeah, we need a lockdown. They're saying we don't need a lockdown. You know why? Because they need to work to put food on their table. And they're saying, I don't want to lose my job. I'm fine. Let me go work. If I want to work, let me work. So I don't. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of people that I think the issue is there's not a lot of things in the United States that are class based in terms of where you fall in your opinion. But the lockdowns is certainly one of them.
Well, it's infuriating, and you hit the nail on the head there. It's like, let me choose. We had a nightmare early in England in roughly March and April. Well, I suppose mostly April, where basically that was when the lockdown happened. It was literally, you can leave your house to go to the shop once a week, and that's it. You have to stay in your home no matter what.
How did they track that?
They couldn't, but you know.
They're going to start issuing papers, and they're going to get the paper stamped whenever you go to the store.
That was in France. That happened in France. You literally had to have like a permission slip.
A license?
You would
a license? You got a license.
Not even a license, because a license is permanent. Every time you left your home to do shopping it was either France or Spain, you would have to print off a permission slip from the government website.
That sounds like something the French would do.
It was fucking horrifying. And look at them, they're in just as big of a second spike as we are. We had so much shit back then. Oh, Boris has taken so long to do his lockdown. He spent 2 weeks. The 2 weeks he wasted after France and Spain went to lockdown have killed everyone, and then they're in just as bad a state as we are.
Well, I will say,
it's ridiculous.
I think there is some evidence. I don't have it right in front of me, unfortunately, but I think there is some evidence that whether or not you've locked down was absolutely had zero correlation with how infection rates were affected.
Yeah, because Sweden's been fine.
Yeah, so that is something that I think is important. Anyway, let's go ahead.
We should get back to it. But I just wanted to get pissed about lockdowns there.
I guess Wales is going at it right now.
Oh, don't even start.
Journal, one of the most serious journals in the whole world, said for the first time ever that the way this president has responded to this crisis has been absolutely tragic. And so, folks, I will take care of this. I will end this.
Daddy Journal said so you have to listen to him.
Keep going. Sorry, keep going.
No.
A person said this is bad, so this is bad. It's like that's as open and shut as that was.
Every bullshit a pause. For the longest time we had, and I said this, there's a lot of issues. There weren't a lot of issues that were very class based in the United States before, but now there are more, and this is one of them as well. Like this whole coronavirus thing was a very, very class divided issue, and it comes down to elitism. These medical journals and just journals and academia in general have become so corrupted from the inside. They've huffed their own farts for 100 years, right?
They're completely partisan now.
Well, it's not even just partisan. It's they've forsaken the scientific method for activism.
Yeah.
And they will instead of going into because the scientific method is there's some phenomenon, you're trying to explain it. So you come up with a hypothesis, basically. You come up with a test for that hypothesis. You test that hypothesis. You check the data to say, okay, does this match my hypothesis? All right. And then you adjust your hypothesis based on the data. But we're not doing that anymore. We're just the data
we are right
to meet the hypothesis. And exactly. And then we slap it in a journal and call it knowledge and say it's hard and fast. There is no objection to this. And when people say settled science, that gets my back up. Because there is nothing called settled science.
This was something I got angry about a couple days ago. No, I think it was about a week or two ago now. But there was a debate in the British House of Commons, and someone basically, I can't remember who it was. It's annoying the crap that I can't remember who it was. It might have been Matt Hancock or someone like that. But someone said, we can stop this virus. We've shown we can. And I remember nearly punching my monitor because I was like, no, you didn't. You said, we're going to lock down for 3 months to stop the virus. We will lock down for 3 weeks to stop the virus. And that 3 weeks turned into 3 months. You have proved you can't stop this virus, if anything.
It's impossible to stop this virus.
Yeah, because it's a fucking virus.
You can't just...
And it truly shows
the hubris of man.
Yes.
I literally was about to say I was going to just say the hubris of politicians, that they think they can control a fucking virus.
The hubris of elitists. The hubris of the elite. No. I think this is
the fucking... I'd like to get away from COVID and talk about other things for once.
I agree, but I think this is a very important point because I really want to stress the elitism in academia. That has led to this. That has led to the polls not being right in 2016 and 2018. That has led to this issue with the coronavirus. It has led to this critical race theory taking hold in all of our institutions beyond academia as well, like in government. And in the military and all these places that should have absolutely no political leanings or at least no overt political leanings, and there is none of that anymore because the academics and the elite, the people who think they're smarter than everyone else around them, have determined that this is the right answer, and anyone who doesn't think this is the right answer is an idiot. And that is not just hubris.
No.
But that is also exactly antithetical to what they profess to be doing, which is science. In science, the entire idea is to question what you know, not say we have found what we know and there is no changing from it. This is it. We're done. That is stupid. That is anti-science.
Well, it really makes me think about what people have been saying lately, which is like, now that more and more of the population aren't religious, all those people who are non-religious are finding religion in other things.
Yes.
And it's...
oh, man. If only Cicero was on, because he and I have something about, like, the people that say, I fucking love science. That's a religion.
That's a Facebook page, and it's terrible.
But it's a religion. Like, that attitude is a religion.
So should we get to this? I want to get to something that isn't the fucking coronavirus.
Well, we might have to skip because there's a lot.
Well, let's keep going. Let's keep going, and we'll see how far. Again, we can do this in 2 parts if we have to.
Maybe we'll see. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's let it roll through.
Oh.
Is it not working?
Someone else is pausing it. There we go. Okay.
President Trump, I'd like to follow up with you in your comments. You talked about taking a therapeutic. I assume you're referencing Regeneron. You also said a vaccine within weeks.
That's a great term.
Is that a guarantee?
No, it's not a guarantee, but it will be by the end of the year. But I think it has a good chance. There are 2 companies, I think, within a matter of weeks, and it will be
more specifics, by the way.
Can you tell us which companies?
Johnson & Johnson is doing very well. Moderna is doing very well. Pfizer is doing very well. And we have...
Very quick point. Joe Biden never gives specifics. Trump gives hard and fast specifics. For example, here's our deadline. Here's our deadline. Here are the companies that are working on it. Here's we mentioning specific states saying these were their issues. They aren't there anymore. This is the medicine that they gave me. There's a lot of specifics that Trump has that Biden doesn't give and is never pressed for.
Have numerous.
Now, I will admit, if we're gonna have to talk about the vaccine, I really worry about this fucking vaccine.
Why?
Because people keep saying vaccines normally take a decade to make.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
I heard someone say this the other day.
No, that's not true.
That's the approval process.
Yeah, that is the red tape taking that long. Regular vaccines.
This is why it's called Operation Warp Speed. It doesn't actually
take that... Are you eating?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Me?
Yeah, it sounds like you got a mouthful of food.
No.
Don't lie.
Okay.
Swallows. Anyway, continue. Go ahead. You were saying?
Oh, yeah. This is why they call it Operation Warp Speed, because like half of that stuff is red tape. And he's like, no, just bring it through. As long as it doesn't spontaneously kill people, then you're fine.
Yeah, and also everyone, like the whole anti-vax thing, oh, there's all these chemicals in it. They say, oh, there's mercury in it. Yeah, there's mercury in there as a compound with something else. You know, like there's that's stupid to say that there's mercury in it. By weight, yes, there's mercury there atomically, yes, but it's not just by itself. By itself, it would be bad, but it's in a compound with other things. It's fine. So it's not going to give you autism. All right. Now, will it potentially, like, there's some evidence potentially that like having too many vaccines at the same time can really stress your immune system and cause problems, but it's not going to give you autism. It's just going to make you sick. No.
That's the thing, though, is that's what I'm worried about, is if this vaccine has been rushed.
Well,
and that's the thing, I don't question vaccines normally, but it's the fact that it does seem like they have rushed this one through, and that does give me concern.
Well, that was going to be the case regardless. So I don't know that. I guess what I'm saying is I would rather take a rushed vaccine than be in lockdown.
I would rather we just open up and just weather this virus, because
I don't think that's an option.
Frankly, I think
too many Karens.
Yes, okay. If I'm to say my opinion, I think that people can fucking handle this virus if we let them. But because we're locking down and ruining everyone's immune systems by basically sapping their bloody bodies of vitamin D. In England, we have serious problems with vitamin D deficiencies already because it's cloudy as balls here. And making everyone stay in their homes and literally like getting people in trouble for sunbathing is only going to make that worse.
I agree. All right, let's continue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We also have others that we're working on very closely with other countries, in particular Europe.
Let me follow up with you, and because this is new information, you have said a vaccine is coming soon, within weeks now. Your own officials say it could take well into 2021 at the earliest for enough Americans to get vaccinated. And even then, they say the country will be wearing masks and distancing into 2022. Is your timeline realistic?
No, I think my timeline is going to be more accurate. I don't know that they're counting on the military the way I do, but we have our generals lined up, one in particular that's the head of logistics. And this is a very easy distribution for him. He's ready to go as soon as we have the vaccine, and we expect to have 100 million vials. As soon as we have the vaccine, he's ready to go.
Vice President Biden, your reaction in just 40...
So yeah, I will say I think Trump sidestepped that question, because technically what she said there is right. Realistically, the vaccine will be created by the end of the year. It's not people are going to have the vaccine by the end of the year.
Well, to be clear,
sidestepped that question.
To be clear, the effects of a vaccine don't require necessarily the entirety of the population to have it. As soon as so yes, it will take longer for everyone to get the vaccine, but we don't need everyone to get the vaccine. And once you actually have this and say, look, this works, that's easy to mass produce.
But
this isn't something.
Also,
this is.
It's not like transporting is going to take long, as he says. All I'm saying is technically he did sidestep that question.
I don't necessarily agree, because I think what he's saying is it's not going to take as long as what these people are saying it's going to take to recover from this, which I think is what he's basically getting at.
Well, that's like all she said.
To be a Trump show.
All she'd said was it's going to be made by the end of the year, but it won't be being delivered for a few months after that. And I think technically, yeah, that's accurate. Now, people wearing masks and social distancing till 2022, I think that's idiots being idiots, and I don't give a fuck about idiots.
As soon as people are getting injected and the social distancing and the like max cap on people being around each other, just shut that shit down. As soon as needles go into skin, enough.
I hope so. I mean, legally at least. But my point is that people are still going to be idiots.
Oh, yeah. Well,
you can't really.
That is a constant, and we're all idiots, including ourselves.
Indeed.
Percent of Americans say they would definitely agree to take a coronavirus vaccine if it was approved by the government. What
did she say? How long did she say?
Vice President Biden, your reaction, and just 40% of Americans say they would definitely agree to take a coronavirus vaccine if it was approved by the government. What steps would you take to give Americans confidence in a vaccine if it were approved?
Make sure it's totally transparent. Have the scientists of the world see it. No.
Is the vial clear? Let's be transparent. I disagree with the way that the question is framed. She said 40% said they would definitely take or definitely agree to take a vaccine approved by the government.
That doesn't mean 60% will refuse.
Exactly.
That's not the same thing.
Exactly. It's one of those more likely, less, very strongly, neutral, very strongly against, very strongly against, very strongly against.
I will say one thing. It's like if Biden saying, "Oh, we'll make sure the science is transparent." It's like, "Oh, really?" Like how you did with the coronavirus, where you are literally deplatforming people who disagree with your science.
And also, there was like a daily or weekly coronavirus update that the president was doing, and I think Alex brought this up that the mainstream media just shut that down. They stopped watching it.
Yes,
they stopped broadcasting
completely.
Sticks brought this up. He said that basically every time he did one of those things, his approval rating would keep going up because people saw him leading them and they were gaining confidence because of it.
That whole it would have ripped away from Biden the ability to say he's not leading this country, because everyone would be like, "What are you talking about?" I just saw him on Tuesday talk about what we're doing right now for the coronavirus. So
exactly. But that's another thing. But I wanted to point out, it's like, yeah, sure, you're going to be transparent. If you're transparent in the way that you are with the COVID science, I don't want this vaccine, quite frankly, because the amount of people that have been suppressed turns my stomach.
Oh yeah, and supposedly like experts, quote unquote.
Yes, exactly.
So
through all the processes, and by the way. This is the same fellow who told you this is going to end by Easter last time. This is the same fellow who told you that, don't worry, we're going to end this by the summer. We're about to go into a dark winter. And he has no clear plan, and there's no prospect that there's going to be a vaccine available for the majority of the American people before the middle of next year.
Can you pause that?
Yeah. So my interpretation when he said those things was like, I hope we can have this done by Easter. I hope. And, that was not him talking about...
So I did continue.
Okay, I never read that as him saying, "Oh, coronavirus will be gone." I think that was him saying the lockdown will be over by Easter. It's like, well,
he's being hopeful. He's being hopeful. He's not. Yeah. He's not actually saying that. I guarantee that it's gone at this point. It's just Biden twisting the words.
And again, we had that in England, We had them saying, "Oh, this will only be for 3 weeks. This will only be for another 3 weeks. Literally every 3 weeks, this will be another 3 weeks until we'd been in our homes for 3 months." So this is not a Trumpian thing.
Ghosts, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, well, I think the general idea of when he said that was less like, I mean, I'm sure there was a hope element to it, but when I was listening to that back in like March, the idea is that the states would be rational about this, and the states wouldn't freak out, and then because Trump immediately stopped immigration, stopped travel from China, and just ended up just stopping a lot of the travel, regardless of the country. And I'm thinking he was assuming that we would have reached herd immunity at this point if people didn't everyone just isolated in their homes and everything like that.
That's a possibility, yeah.
And the fact that the states, because that's out of his control, and the fact that the states were just like, "Oh no, lock down everything," it's like, well, every week you stay locked down, you are limiting the healthy people who can get exposure that would prevent this from just kind of going away.
Yeah, well, I'm watching the clip of him saying this now, and it's specifically described as he wants it open at Easter. He never says this will be gone by Easter. And he's not talking about the coronavirus being gone. He's just saying that they would end lockdowns by then. That was him hoping for people to have their freedom back and that we could cope with this virus regularly.
What was the question? What did the moderator ask Joe Biden? The moderator asked, what would you tell the American people to give them confidence in a vaccine?
In the vaccine, yeah.
And what does he say? Don't trust it. He's not gonna have it in time. You're not gonna get it when he says you're gonna get it. He screwed up so much. He had everything he said was in an attempt to undermine confidence in Trump's coronavirus response, including a vaccine. So he did not answer that. That was a poor answer to that question. That was the first thing I thought of, because that's a good question. She said, "You have basic." In my head.
You've got a good point.
Well, she had a great. This was a good question, and I think this was an example of when she pressed him to answer a question that he should have been asked before, and he really hadn't been. Where basically. He's been saying you can't trust a vaccine from Trump, and she's like, this is, there are a lot of people who don't trust it. Is that a good idea that people don't trust it? Probably not. What would you do to bring confidence? And he directly just basically told her to F off, I don't want people to be.
Okay, if I'm be charitable to Biden, which is my thing, I am the devil's advocate. What he was saying was, I would be transparent, whereas Trump has not been transparent. I would tell you all of the information, and whereas he has constantly not told you things. It's in his defense, in charitable.
And what I'm saying is that him undermining his response does not induce confidence in a vaccine. That does the exact opposite. And so what I'm saying is that's a very doom and gloom answer to someone who's like, I just want to get back to work.
Yeah.
And that's key. And I bring that up because who are the people that are going to swing this election? The people that are the working class in areas like Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, the elderly in Florida, and what am I thinking?
There's what elderly are left in Florida?
I can't think of the other one. But those are like the big states that if Trump wins those, it's over. Wisconsin, thank you. The Rust Belt plus Florida is the key, like it was last time. And the people that live there are mostly working class. They want to work. They don't want to be locked in their homes anymore. They're not on board with this coronavirus lockdown stuff because it's affecting their jobs. And so now the answer he gives is basically, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. They're not going to be on board with that. They're going to say, what are you talking about? I want to go back to work. So I think that's important if you think about the election possibilities of this whole thing, which is something to keep in mind. So let's continue.
We've been going for an hour now. I need to quickly run to the restroom. If you want to continue, and I'll catch up when we get back.
That's fine, because this is mostly coronavirus stuff, so you're not going to miss much.
Reaction, he's
We're going to have a dark winter at all. We're opening up our country. We've learned and studied and understand the disease, which we didn't at the beginning.
The dark winter.
When I closed and banned
2 minutes
China
to midnight
from coming in heavily infected, and then ultimately Europe. But China was in January. Months later, he was saying I was xenophobic. I did it too soon. Now he's saying, oh, I should have, moved quicker. But he didn't move quicker. He was months behind me, many months behind me. And frankly, he ran the H1N1 swine flu, and it was a total disaster, far less lethal, but it was a total disaster. Had that had this kind of numbers, 700,000 people would be dead right now, but it was a far less lethal disease. Look,
I will say this. I don't like him trying to equate the H1N1 pandemic with the coronavirus one. Yeah, because it is less lethal, so you don't have to treat it as dangerous as a more lethal one, if that makes sense. So like if a disease doesn't kill people, and actually that's an argument from the perspective of get rid of the lockdowns, because they're saying if we're saying, look, you should only do this in the event that it's a very deadly disease. And that wasn't a very deadly disease, so it makes sense to not lock down. Whereas this is also supposedly not a deadly disease, not as deadly as we were worried it was going to be, so we shouldn't lock down. As opposed to, now I get what Trump's saying here, though. He's saying, would Biden really have done any better in my position? Well, there was this other pandemic that he was involved with that he totally him and his colleague totally dicked up. So would he do better? Probably not. I would just want to caution everyone on the whole comparing coronavirus to the swine flu.
Who for him, who, as you know, was his chief of staff, said it was catastrophic, it was horrible, we didn't know what we were doing. Now he comes up and he tells us how to do this. Also, everything that he said about the way every single move that he said we should make, that's what we've done. We've done all of it. But he was way behind us.
Vice President Biden, your response.
My response is he is xenophobic, but not because he shut down access from China. And he did it late after 40 countries had already done that. In addition to that, what he did, he made sure that we had 44 people that were in there in China trying to get to Wuhan to determine what exactly the source.
So hang on, I want to bring up Biden's tweet.
Back, by the way.
So we're on a Biden just said, or Trump said that Biden said he was xenophobic for closing the country to China, and Biden said he's xenophobic but not because of closing the country to China. That's a lie, because I remember very vividly he wrote a tweet. Or somebody wrote a tweet.
It was
in his name. Yeah.
Well,
it was Biden, so Biden has to own that because it was Biden's opinion. It came from his Twitter account, and he said that it was xenophobic. That's proven. You can look it up.
Here, yeah. I am looking it up. Here it is. I'm downloading it now to put on the stream. Let me go ahead.
Should have had this in advance, I will admit. I should have had like a pile of these tweets because so many people said it at the time.
Yeah. Where is it here? Hang on. Just got to resize this thing so it's nice and fit in the screen for everybody. God, yeah. How big is this? Insanity. This is too big. This is excellent. Streaming right here.
The day after Trump announced the travel restrictions on China, Biden tweeted that we are in the midst of a crisis with the coronavirus. We need to lead the way with science, not Donald Trump's record of hysteria, xenophobia, and fear-mongering. He is the worst person to lead our country through a global health emergency.
Here we are. Donald Trump said, I always treated the Chinese virus very seriously and have done a very good job from the beginning, including my very early decision to close the borders from China. Against the wishes of almost all. Many lives were saved. The fake news narrative is disgraceful and false. Joe Biden replies, stop the xenophobic fear-mongering. Be honest. Take responsibility. Do your job. That is directly in response to his closing of the border of China. Why are you saying xenophobic fear-mongering except to say he closed the borders to China? That's a lie. So outright...
The only other thing he could be referring to is the fact that he calls it the Chinese virus, which,
But he said stop the xenophobic fear-mongering, which he was saying it was about. Why would you close the borders to a specific country? Oh, it's because you're xenophobic to the Chinese, right?
Yeah.
And you're fear-mongering that, oh, well, Chinese people carry the coronavirus or whatever stupid, thing you would say. So the point is,
Trump specifically says many lives were saved because I did this. That's not fear-mongering.
Well, again, the point is, Joe Biden just straight up lied. It wasn't even like a twisting of the terms or anything, like lying by omission. It was I never said he was he's xenophobic, but not because of the coronavirus or the Chinese border closure. But he did. It's right here, March 18th, 2020. So this whole idea that's an outright lie.
Also, while I was searching for this tweet, I got about 5 different news articles going, no, Biden didn't call him xenophobic for the... It's like, yeah, he did.
Oh, like the Vox articles that say what Biden said explained, and then they do this whole like bullshit opinion of oh no, actually they didn't say that, and
careful.
Or kind of like what Snopes does when they're like, no, Snopes, all that.
Careful with your give me just a moment to remove that tweet.
Take on the tweet.
Go ahead.
Okay.
What did the president say in January? He said, no, he said, he's being transparent. The president of China is being transparent. We owe him a debt of gratitude. We have to thank him. And then what happened was we started talking about using the Defense Act to make sure we go out and get whatever is needed out there to protect people. And again, I go back to this. He had nothing. He did virtually nothing. And then he gets out of the hospital and he talks about, don't worry, it's all going to be over soon. Come on. There's not another serious scientist in the world.
Come on,
man.
President Trump?
Come on, man. Right, okay. So he is referring to a tweet January 24th where Trump says, China has been working very hard to contain the coronavirus. So already, Trump acknowledges that the coronavirus exists. The United States greatly appreciates
and is worth
their
containing.
efforts and transparency. Yeah, the United States greatly appreciates their efforts and transparency. I think that's political talk.
Yes.
But in fairness, I don't think anyone expected Trump to go up to China and treat them like he treated North Korea. You know, my button is bigger than yours and it works, as he said. But which by the way, I didn't even see as a penis metaphor until people were saying it was a penis metaphor. I thought that was, we have more nukes than you and our nukes work.
Yeah, as opposed to the North Korean ones, which always are prematurely detonating things.
The classic North Korean nukes that they use against Atlantis, if they're meant to be working correctly. But so it will all work out well. In particular, on behalf of the, I want to thank President Xi. So he's trying to keep spirits up. He's trying not to scare people, and Biden keeps claiming he's fear-mongering. By the way, I've gotten Biden on a brilliant pause on the stream now. He's giving him a side eye. So okay, you could say that that's Trump downplaying it, sure, but in January, it was still very unknown. I don't see what the problem is here.
Everyone. When did lockdowns initially go into effect in the UK?
20th of March.
Okay, that's around when they went into effect here. Basically, that it was like the 20th or the 21st. But the point
and in Europe, it was still only March. It was just about 2 weeks earlier, so about the 8th of March-ish.
Well, the point. So it's like the point is that we're talking about Trump in January, when there weren't that many cases everywhere and people were just learning about the coronavirus as a thing. The people weren't even really that aware of it in January. And we're talking about how he's like, well, we hear the Chinese are being transparent, doing the political things, basically hoping that China will do its job. And then realizing China's not doing its job. In fact, they might be actively attempting to not do their job so that it does spread around the world. That's a possibility. Then, given that, then he said, all right, well, then let's stop it from spreading by cutting off the travel. And now all of a sudden, it's xenophobia.
Yeah.
And everyone remember Nancy Pelosi was like, oh, this is...
what bastard says that.
Everyone go out to Chinatown. What's the face dickhead from New York City was like, go hug someone in Chinatown. Like, are you kidding me? These are the people that are talking about Trump screwed up.
Okay, so let's go back and see what his point was with that, though.
Don't worry, it's all going to be over soon. Come on. There's not another serious scientist in the world who thinks it's going to be over soon.
President Trump,
okay, that's not true. Basically he's saying Trump keeps downplaying this. Then why does he keep saying that Trump is fear-mongering then? It's mixed messages.
Because, so this comes back to critical theory. And I hate to dig into that because I know everyone's eyes glaze over when I mention critical theory. And it's real ethereal and out there and not really, like, it seems like it's just an idea. So, like, it's really obtuse. But it really does come down to this. If you have if you believe any inkling of critical theory to be true, you will lose the ability to basically have principles, because what'll happen, critical theory is like weaponized Marxism for everything, and part of this is basically only ever acknowledging when you're right and when the enemy is wrong, and never acknowledging when you're wrong. And so basically you're always right by definition. So this whole like him saying there's no such thing as mixed messages. There is just I'm right because I'm on the right side of history or whatever. So like there's you have to be careful with trying to attempting to apply principles to people that are corrupted by critical theory.
Well, that's the thing, though. But most people do have principles, so you've just got to point this out to people.
I agree, but I'm saying he's never going to do that. He's never going to.
But it's always but you should always point that out when you see it. So basically, he's saying, "Oh, you've been downplaying this. You've been downplaying the virus. You keep telling people it'll be fine, and it's not going to be fine. People have to be scared." That's basically what he's saying here. So how does Trump respond?
Your reaction?
And I say we're learning to live with it. We have no choice. We can't lock ourselves up in a basement like Joe does. He has the he has the ability to lock himself up. I don't know. He's obviously made a lot of money someplace. But he has this thing about
look at that face. Look at that face. Oh, he's sucking on that sour warhead.
Do that. I'd love to put myself in the basement or in a beautiful room in the White House and go away for a year and a half until it disappears. I can't do that. And Kirsten, every meeting I had, and I'd meet a lot of families, including Gold Star families and military families. Every meeting I had, and I had to meet them. I had to. It would be horrible to have canceled everything. I said, you know, this is dangerous, and you catch it. And you know, I caught it. I learned a lot. Great doctors, great hospitals, and now I recovered.
The best doctors.
99.9
the very
of young
best in the
people
world.
recover. 99% of people recover. We have to recover. We can't close up our nation. We have to open our school.
I got a
and
point
we
when
can't
he's
close
done.
up our nation, or you're not going to have a nation.
That was a great. And I just want to say that was a fucking great rebuttal. You know, this is a virus. This virus exists. This virus is killing people, but it's not killing that many people. We have to live with it. We have to accept that. We can't destroy the lives of everyone for the sake of 1% of people.
So
that is his point there, and I think that's a really good rebuttal.
His point is good. His delivery was terrible, though.
Yes,
the point I wanted to make here is this is the problem that Trump has with debating. Trump is not a very good long form debater. He's better at jabs, real quick things, off the cuff. We'll get to it in a minute. Who built the cages, Joe? That's what he does well. He doesn't do long form answers well because he'll get halfway through a sentence and then meander off into something about Gold Star families and having to cancel things, and that would be terrible. When the point is, we can't shut the country down because too many people's lives depend on the economy working.
Yeah.
That's all he needed to say, and he spent a minute and a half yammering on about meetings that he had, So like that's one thing that Trump isn't the best at. We got a couple people in chat here. RK Productions, hey, good to see you again, man. Says Snopes and Vox are trash. No lie detected. Yes. No lie detected. Dirty Wop Bastard, who I love his avatar there with no hammer and sickle, says in February, Nancy Pelosi told us to go to Chinatown and there was nothing to worry about. Exactly. Yeah. This isn't like this is something.
That was what I was trying to say when you were talking about it a minute ago. It's like, yeah, he just said that.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and continue here.
Yeah. Is there a dog in the room with someone?
Not here.
Give that dog head pat.
CDC has said people can get sick with COVID-19 and can pass it. Vice President Biden, I want to talk broadly about strategy, though.
Can I respond to that?
30 seconds, please, and then I have a question.
Right, hang on. I just want to address this. What the hell?
We can't close up our nation. We have to open our school, and we can't close up our nation, or you're not going to have a nation.
And of course, the CDC has said young people can get sick with COVID-19 and can pass it.
That's not. He didn't say they couldn't. He said that 99% survive it. So that's okay. That in my opinion, is a mark against this moderator, because all he was saying was most people live through this. And she goes, yes, but the CDC do say they can catch it and they can pass it on. He never said they couldn't. Ghost, are you still here?
Yes.
Because Shandy's had dash for a second. He'll be back. And I think Alex is listening.
I'm back now.
Oh, you back? Okay. So, okay, what do you guys think? Do you think that's a slight against this moderator, or because I think that's a very dishonest way to respond to his point there.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's not unexpected, and but it's just like, oh god, he literally said 99%. It's not like he said all young people are fine. Young people won't be hurt by this. If he'd said that, I'd understand her saying, well, no, young people can't die from it. But he didn't. He said 99%. Or 99.8% or something is what he said, which I
just think it's silly. It's silly, like pandering, like the reporting of this basically when she says, "Oh well, it is said like kids die, kids can get sick." And yes. And
she's fear mongering. She's exemplifying it. It's like, oh, we need a little bit of the neurotic COVID fear mongering when she's talking.
She's the Karen. She's doing. Think of the children.
Think
of the children. Oh no.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Right. So
the children.
I think Shandy will be all right with us just continuing along, but I just wanted to point that out because that would have really boiled my egg if I hadn't pointed it out. But
and I was gonna tell Shandy, I insult Biden. Yeah, well, I was gonna, but like now that you're controlling it for now, like I'll just like lay insults into Biden randomly. You don't have to pause during that. I just randomly like to insult Joe Biden because I hate him.
No problem. Okay. Right, let's get back to it.
I want to talk broad about strategy, though. You have
respond to that?
30 seconds, please, and then I have a question.
No, number one.
Someone's echoing.
He says.
Yeah, that's Alex. Alex, if you could push to talk or something, or move away from your speakers.
All right, I'm good now.
Okay.
We're learning to live with it. People are learning to die with it. You folks home will have an empty chair at the kitchen table.
Empty chair.
He's doing the camera point.
Reaching over.
Oh no. No, the empty chair.
People dying.
Yes. Learning to live with it. Come on.
Yes.
We're dying with it.
Come on, man.
Because he's never said, you said it's dangerous. When's the last time? Is it really dangerous still? Are we dangerous?
Oh, he's pointing too. And you people at home,
what you do about the danger? And you say, I take no responsibility.
That's not what he said. He never said that.
That is complete bullshit, Joe Biden.
That is such a stupid. Basically, all he said is people die, and this man needs to take responsibility for every person that dies. And it's like, no, you're full of shit. And I don't. You know what? I really hope people see this. Like, you hope that people, the average person on the street, is seeing through this. I mean, you guys are Americans, so since Shandy's gone for now and he'll be back soon, I want to actually get this. What do you guys think, like, as your experience of, like, just knowing people in real life? People who aren't politically plugged in, people who are, like, not so hyper aware as we are. And that's not me saying I'm big brained. I'm saying we are autistically paying attention to every single little thing. What does the average man on the street? What are they? Did this debate? What was the response? Yeah.
Okay, well, so for me, and what's interesting is I'm originally, so I live in Maryland now, but I'm originally from Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania, as you know, is a very big battleground state.
I don't know that, but...
Okay, so Pennsylvania is a very big battleground state. It's one of the states that typically decides an election. So it used to be blue for the longest time, because there's two major cities there, but the rest of Pennsylvania is all like Union Democrats and Republicans as well. Even in the cities now, a lot of people who are like Union Democrats, they tend to be a lot more moderate. They tend to be less like radicalized as people like around DC and stuff like that. And when they hear this, I know a lot of Union Democrats that actually, like in Pennsylvania, that in 2016, they did not vote for Trump, but they are going to in 2020, just because they're just tired of what, like, Joe Biden, like, is literally giving nothing of substance here.
Yeah.
He's doing little petty insults to Trump. He's saying that, oh, and I'm going to fix it, but he actually hasn't said how with anything. He said, like, standard things that Trump's already been doing. So the average person, they'll tune into the debate, and especially with this one, it seems like the first one was, in my opinion, a disaster. I think Trump could have done a lot better. But I think so far, and I haven't watched the whole thing, but Trump is appearing a lot more presidential. And I think he's currently ahead of Joe Biden. I think like the average person will see that as well. at this point.
Okay, but on this specific point where Biden's basically telling people you need to blame Trump for people who die of corona, do you think that's
No.
that is the opinion?
I don't think the average person who's, not as diffused or involved in politics as we are is going to do that.
Okay. Ghosts?
The only people that are going to blame Trump are going to be like the hyper left people that are like, Trump's bad about everything. Those are the only people that are going to blame him.
There is one person I know in real life.
God damn it.
Oh, sorry. I just got back, so go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. You didn't mean it.
I yield the floor to the representative from the ancient period.
Okay, Shandy though. Sorry, what?
No, ghosts.
Ghosts, go ahead then. Go, ghosts.
Now?
Yes.
Yes, you can go.
It's okay. Okay, cool. So, I'm from Philly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm from Pennsylvania. I know a lot of union workers. A lot of members in my family were, they're like working class. They do like HVAC systems and they work at the plant and stuff like that. And I do know that unions in all are recommending that that their members don't vote for Biden.
Right.
Because Biden is too wish-washy on hydrofracturing, and people are like unions like for specific like for fracking, for like the energy sector, which like the whole fracking process has accelerated the United States on the energy front like really fast, within like the last 5 years. And Hillary didn't really entertain the whole fracking thing. I think she made some comments here and there, but people knew she wasn't going to do anything about it. But no one, a lot of these unions don't know anything. Don't know about what Biden's actual position is, because he won't even. There are a lot of things that he won't even say. So I know that a lot of people are really like kind of sick of the whole. We're just gonna do radical policies. Because when you look at it outside of a political framework, outside of the kind of ebb and flow of politics, and you're just. It's your job, and you go to your job, and you know how the procedure is, and you know what you're gonna do. I mean, people are just like, yeah, I don't want you to shut down my industry. That's kind of ridiculous. But
do you think these people, if they watched this, if they had watched this debate, and Biden points at the screen and basically says, if you know someone who died of coronavirus, you need to blame Trump, do you think they would blame Trump?
No.
It depends which people.
Yeah, well, I suppose
the average person, no, but
we would hope
like I said, there's some super liberals will probably be like, yes, Trump's bad about everything.
Well, think about this too. How many people does that actually affect? 200,000 people is terrible, but a lot of those people were old that barely had any family. And
I think the people, for the most part, a lot of the families who lost somebody who's very old, I don't think that most of them are going to actually blame the president for that.
Yeah.
They're just going to realize that this person was old and frail, and unfortunately he ended up dying, or he or she.
Well, that's rough. Well, so Shandy, you came in saying one person something.
Yeah, so one person I know in real life actually he actually voted for Trump in 2016 and was kind of for him, sort of, but really he just voted against Clinton.
Fair enough.
He is not going to be voting Trump this time, I think, because he doesn't like how Trump has handled the coronavirus. However, he has received a lot of fake news about that through somebody who's been feeding him a lot of lies. Nothing I can do about it, so that is what it is. However, that's the only person I know. And I know several people from around that area that I don't see a lot of people who were pro-Trump that are not anymore because of coronavirus. And I don't know a lot of people who are in the middle, who are independent voters, swing voters, that are going to not vote for Trump now because of how he handled the coronavirus, or usually those are the ones that they care more about how the winds are blowing when it comes to the economy, And so if you would have held the election in like April, Biden probably would have won because at the time the economy was terrible. Now, if you would have held the election, and now if you're going to hold the election when you are, which is now, then where the economy is doing much better and more people are back to work now and unemployment has gone down to a reasonable level, those people now don't have a reason to vote based on the coronavirus. Now they're like, but the economy. And as the advisor to Clinton said, it's the economy, stupid.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So let's continue on.
Let me talk about your two.
Excuse me, I take full responsibility. It's not my fault that he came here. It's China's fault. And you know what? It's not Joe's fault that he came here either. It's China's fault. They kept him.
Can we pause? That is
he must be getting another meth hit there. He's like, oh yes, need some drugs.
That was the most emphasized China I've ever heard. And my wife pointed this out to me when we first watched it. She was like, that is the most China I've ever heard Trump say. It was
whenever me and my girlfriend hear the word China in any context, we both look at each other and go, China.
We gotta I want to hear that again. I want to back it up just a hair and play that again.
If you press on the keypad the left arrow key, you can bring it back 10 seconds.
Very good.
Back it up 10 seconds. Not my fault that he came here. It's China's fault.
And this is Biden with that stunned look on his face because he just said, "Wait a minute, I do take full responsibility." And Joe Biden's
look at his eyebrows. Look at his eyebrows. They just go nuts. Like go back. I'm sorry. One more time. Go back 10 seconds. Go back 10 seconds and press play.
Okay.
I take no responsibility.
Trump, did you say?
Let me talk about your.
No. Watch Biden. Watch Biden's eyebrows when he starts.
Responsibility.
Whoa! Whoa!
That's a great reaction shot there. Okay. I will say, I think this is foolish of Trump here because he effectively says, "I take full responsibility," and then immediately explains why he's not responsible. I'm fine with him not taking full responsibility. It's not his responsibility that a virus entered the country and that states are,
No. What did he? Hang on. Zenn, okay. What did he say? He said it's not my fault that it's here.
Mm-hmm.
That's
different. Responsibility,
but it's not my fault that it's here. So what he's saying is, he's taking responsibility for our response to the coronavirus. But what he's saying is, you can't be mad that these people died because it is a pandemic that was caused by the Chinese government specifically. So the point he's.
I agree with that, but I just feel like he should have exemplified. But I do take responsibility for this part of it, and I'm hoping that's where he's going.
Well, I think what he's trying to do is attempting to diffuse that point by spreading it out over himself, and then he also references Joe. So here, let's go on.
Right.
It's not that he came here; it's China's fault. And you know what? It's not Joe's fault that he came here either.
One last thing I want to say. No, one last thing.
I'm edging.
Joe Biden is frozen right now.
One last thing I want to say is I think that was the moment when I was watching this live. I blinked and I went, holy shit, that's respectful and polite of him to say that it's not Joe's fault. I mean, obviously it's not Joe's fault, but the fact he says that is like, I kind of got, it felt like a sucker punch. Whoa.
Right.
That was polite. What the fuck, Trump?
Exactly. So in the end, he just diffused you from thinking he took responsibility for everyone dead.
I get that.
Yeah. But
it was very
back up.
Meanwhile, Joe is frozen. He doesn't know what to do. He's on the ropes.
It kept continue with Trump. The rest of China for the most. Not my fault that he came here. It's China's fault. And you know what? It's not Joe's fault that he came here either. It's China's fault.
Joe was stuck in that position for like 10 seconds.
But they didn't keep it from coming out to the world, including Europe and ourselves.
Vice President Biden.
The fact is that when we knew it was coming, when it hit, what happened? What did the president say? He said, don't worry, it's going to go away. Be gone by Easter. Don't worry. The warm weather. Don't worry. Maybe inject bleach. He said he was kidding when he said that. But a lot of people
what does Joe expect him to say? Oh, panic.
Said,
well, yes, because today, he wants people to lock down and hide away from it.
We're
because
about
that
to
gives
lose
control.
200,000 more people.
President Trump.
Look, perhaps just to finish this, I was kidding on that, but just to finish this,
just to mop the floor.
He said I shouldn't have closed. And that went on for months. What Nancy Pelosi said the same thing. She was dancing on the streets
all right,
in China.
let's do a fact check here. Did Joe Biden say...
I don't believe my lying ears.
Yeah,
I know, right? Well, no. Biden literally said, as the thing that I showed, stop fear-mongering was literally what Biden said.
Well, that was in March, though, so let's try to find a tweet from around when the lockdown was proposed.
Especially since it was in March, because that was when like lockdowny things were being discussed. He said stop fear-mongering, and now he's angry at him because he didn't fear-monger.
I love DuckDuckGo. Because I've moved to DuckDuckGo mostly now, except for like Google Drive stuff. Well, because I knew if I would have typed in Google Joe Biden opposes, nothing would have popped up. I typed in Joe Biden OP, the top thing, opposed China travel ban.
Yeah.
Yep.
Top
well,
thing.
DuckDuckGo is pretty based. It's not bought out, but like Google is.
Yeah. So you got to bear in mind we can't see this that you're putting up, so let us know what's happening.
Keep on. Right. Okay. So here we go. Joe Biden says we are in the mid. This is February 1st, 2020. We are in the midst of a crisis with the coronavirus. We need to lead the way with science, not Donald Trump's record of hysteria, xenophobia, and fear-mongering. I think you had mentioned that. He is the worst possible person to lead our country through a global health emergency. Now, that doesn't mean he's necessarily opposed to banning travel here. So let's see. During a campaign event on January 31st, Biden referred to Trump's plan to ban travel from China as hysterical xenophobia. Let's see.
Boom. Well, that's pretty much a denouncement right there.
Well, this is from Breitbart, so I don't want to take that as as gospel.
Again, I have that tweet that you just explained there. So he's basically, again, Joe Biden before was saying, don't fearmonger. Now he's saying, you should have fearmongered.
Hang on. So there's a video here, and I'm going to... I won't move around the video, but I'll let you listen to the audio. It's 30 seconds.
Coronavirus emanated from China. A national emergency, worldwide alerts. The American people need to have a president who they can trust what he says about it, that he is going to act rationally about it. In moments like this is where the credibility of the president is most needed, as he explains what we should and should not do. This is no time for Donald Trump's record of hysterical xenophobia, and fear-mongering.
Yeah, he basically just repeats the tweet. So he, let me put it this way. That would...
People need to trust Trump, and people don't trust Trump. That's all he was really saying. He was saying people need to be able to trust Trump.
It was obviously in the context of the Chinese travel ban. So it's one of those weasel things where he's going to say, I never said that was xenophobia.
Right. And technically he didn't. So that means Vox and Washington Post and all them can be like, no, he never said it. He's perfectly fine. But it's like everyone who has a brain knows what he meant by it.
Snopes would give this an absolutely pants on fire false. I would give it a half.
Would be like F you. Yep.
I would give it a half and half.
I was about to say Washington Examiner appears to have given a take on this. So I assume we could maybe trust them actually.
Washington Examiner is a independent to right-leaning publication.
There you go.
So
yes. However, I've had it referred to by some of my liberal friends as a very far right conspiracy theory page.
Well, I've had the BBC called right wing by my left.
Wow, BBC's like hyper left.
Yes,
oh my god.
Because
they're straight up communists.
The reason for that is, and I quote, because when Brexit was happening, they kept having Nigel Farage on their shows. It's like,
oh my god, and that makes them extremist right wing.
Yes.
Wow.
Ignore them. But anyway, so we've deconstructed that. Let's get back to it. Trump's limits something.
Down in San Francisco, but when I closed, he said, "This is a terrible thing. You're xenophobic." I think he called me racist even, and because I was closing it to China. Now he says I should have closed it earlier. It just, Joe, it doesn't work.
I didn't say either of those things.
You certainly
did call him xenophobic.
You certainly did.
I talked about a xenophobia in a different context. It wasn't about closing the border to Chinese coming to the United States.
All right.
Even if he did not specifically say this travel ban is xenophobic, Trump talked about doing the travel ban, and Biden came in and said, you're xenophobic. So
yeah, he said stop being xenophobic. So that's literally calling him a xenophobe.
Even if he is weaseling around it, it is heavily implied. Also,
yeah.
got another top tier Biden face here.
Yeah. So I think a key to understand here is also Biden never came out in support of a travel ban to China.
Yeah.
First off,
travel ban, and he said you're xenophobic.
Because first off, you can't be seen to agree with a bad orange man. That will kill your political career on the left. But also, to say that then any response to what he does is say, well, he's a racist, xenophobe, and then he closes the border to China, and you just keep saying racism, xenophobia. What do you think people are going to take away from that? They're going to think you think that this action is a xenophobic action. Which it's not. So it was rational.
The one thing I will say is that CNN, and I know, but CNN says that Joe Biden's campaign said Friday the former vice president supports President Donald Trump's decision, blah, blah, blah. So, however, this was in April.
Oh, yeah, that's not even close. We're talking February. January.
But I will say that even CNN then says Biden first accused Trump of xenophobia in dealing with the coronavirus pandemic. So even CNN says that.
Yeah, who carries his water for him? So
yeah. So it's unbelievable that he should even try to try and sidestep this. But let's attempt to get through some more of this.
I want to talk about different strategies to handle.
He thought about xenophobia in a different context. It wasn't about closing the border to Chinese coming to the United States.
All right, I want to talk about both of your different strategies to handle.
He thought I shouldn't have closed the border.
Well, let's.
Do we want to skip maybe to a non-coronavirus topic?
No. Let's just try and get through
this.
Well, the problem is, look.
No, we'll just stop
Zenn,
interrupting.
Zenn,
we'll let him go and do it.
How about this? No interruptions until they get to the end of the coronavirus stuff.
Yeah,
which unfortunately is a bit long.
Unless it's genuinely important to interrupt, but if we're just reinforcing things, we can ignore that.
So Shandy, I was telling Zenn when he was pressing play, I'll do little subtle jabs at Biden. You don't have to pause for that. Just let me do that.
To that quickly, Vice President Biden. Okay. Let's talk about your different strategies toward dealing with this. Mr. Vice President, you suggested you would support new shutdowns if scientists recommended it. What do you say to Americans who are fearful that the cost of shutdowns, the impact on the economy, the higher rates of hunger, depression, domestic and
substance abuse
outweighs
This is a really good question. I agree.
This is where she did a good job.
What I would say is I'm going to shut down the virus, not the country.
Oh God! Okay, no, I'm sorry.
To shut down in large parts.
We're not stopping. Just talk over.
No, we're not pausing. No.
So many people
just talk over.
Why do you even start with that?
We're gonna shut down the virus, not the country.
That's just like one of his phrases that his fucking marketing team came up with.
Yeah, it's a bumper sticker, is what that is.
I can't even start with that. All I can say is that's not how viruses work.
Yeah,
that's cringe.
I need the image of Harrison Ford from Force Awakens going, that's not how viruses work.
Yeah.
Look, you need standards. The standard is
I'm sorry.
reproduction rate in a community
I didn't mean to swear.
that's above a certain
look, I don't even care as long as it's not a gamer word, man.
More social distancing. Do not open bars.
Dude, I've already said the F word 5 times, I think.
Do not open until you get this under control.
Say fuck all you want.
Under more control. But when you do open, give the people the capacity to be able to open and have the capacity to do it safely. For example, schools. Schools, they need a lot of money to open. They need to deal with ventilation systems. They need to deal with smaller classes.
So we pay taxes for
more pods.
They need an infinite amount of money.
Yeah, the answer is just dump more money into it. Typical
What about school choice?
To respond, if I might.
Please, and then I have a follow-up.
Thank you, and I appreciate that.
I like this. They definitely, again, with the moderator, they always give the two chance to discuss things if need be.
Right, instead of Chris Wallace being a dictator.
Dictator Chris.
Democrats.
Trash heap, but actually Trump is being very respectful to her as well because she's being respectful to him.
Right.
Yeah.
And he supports all these people.
Chris Wallace was like, "No, Trump, shut up! Don't say that." So.
In
fairness, I'm pretty sure Wallace told Biden to shut up at one point as well.
One time.
That was the one thing.
No, Trump, kill yourself.
I think I saw Chris Wallace telling Biden to shut up without one time, and it colored my opinion of him throughout the entire debate. Because I thought Chris Wallace did fine, but I should rewatch it at some point.
this, they can do it safely. But just yesterday,
No, it's basically Chris and Joe versus Trump, in my opinion.
The thing is, the point is there were very strategic points where Chris Wallace cut Trump off when Trump was about to lay a haymaker. And so he protected Joe a lot, and he never would press Joe when Joe made an incorrect statement.
This is why we should have done on that one as well.
Yeah, but it's too late for that.
Oh God, Biden's staring at me again.
I wonder if Biden actually knows where he's at right now.
I can't tell what worries me more with Biden, when he looks directly at the camera or when he does that thing where he's staring down at the ground.
Like now?
Well, no, he's reading his notes right now. He's like, all right, prep for this question. Let's see. Yep.
He's mourning the ethnic cleansing that he's about to initiate.
Right. See, he laughed at that. See, he heard you, Ghost.
All the way back.
He's like, yeah, I am. I'm gonna ethically cleanse. Yep.
We ought to be able to safely open.
We're gonna give all the money to the Planned Parenthood.
You know what? You know what's funny? He kept lambasting Trump. You don't have any plans. You're never specific. And then Biden's just like, we need to give people the ability to do this. We need to enable
how?
He's not saying how. Yeah. Not know how.
It just do that. Hang on.
I still think there should be two moderators that are both adversarial to the candidate. So there should be like a Republican moderator and a Democrat moderator.
That would be interesting.
It'd be a bloodbath.
Tucker Carlson.
It'd be an actual debate.
Tucker Carlson and Rachel Maddow.
Okay.
Richard Maddow. Yeah.
Let's pay attention here, because I actually do think he does go into specifics here. Also, oh God, that face he's pulling now. What? That looks like a stroke face.
We probably had about 3 strokes. All right, I'll listen. Hang on.
Open a business, have social distancing within the business. You need to have, if you have a restaurant, you need to have plexiglass dividers so people cannot infect one another. You need to be in a position where you can take testing rapidly and know whether
the plexiglass
is in fact infected.
Other than
you need to be able to trace. You need to be able to provide all the
no, you don't need to trace.
To do this, and that is not inconsistent with saying.
He's a globalist, so he wants tracing. He wants to know where you're at.
Well, so to tie this all up, he's saying we need to wear masks. We need to socially distance in buildings. We need to put up plexiglass things in restaurants. And we need to pour more money basically into institutions in order to afford this stuff. Here's the thing: Trump's doing basically everything but the plexiglass.
Yeah,
thing.
Trump's doing it.
And there are even some businesses though that already have done that. Like there was a restaurant around here that unfortunately is closed now and will be forever. It wasn't because of the coronavirus. Well, it potentially partially was, but it was a longer term poor investment that they made. But this restaurant
the plexiglass.
They did the plexiglass, and I remember like on the bar. They had a bar there, and they had plexiglass things in between on the bar, and I'm like, this is just so. This is bizarre. Ridiculous. Yeah, like I feel like I'm in a
very dystopian.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in a TV show.
I don't talk to people anymore because
I feel like I'm taking my SATs.
You can't hear people when they're wearing a mask. Their voice is muffled.
It's all muffled, yeah.
I nearly got into an argument with my dad about a month ago because he went, oh, if you're complaining about needing to wear a mask, it's like complaining that you need to wear shoes. I'm like, oh, sorry, Dad. I didn't know that shoes literally blocked what you're saying. And,
yeah, block your voice.
Makes it harder for you to breathe. And, I call bullshit on the fucking, oh, you can breathe just fine in a mask. No, you can't. You can't.
No, you can't.
No, that's bullshit.
Try to go to the gym and work out with a mask on. It doesn't work.
My girlfriend's gym mandated masks during workout, so she quit on the spot.
Yeah, you can't work out with a mask on.
There was a meme going around with a nurse basically like with one of those oxygen monitors on her finger and various levels of mask. And she was like showing the results of how it didn't change. You know why? Because she probably just put that. She just put it on, took the picture, took it off. She hadn't sat there and been breathing for a while. She didn't run around in it. She wasn't walking in it, right? And so the real test would be you have to say your regular oxygen, and then oxygen when you're walking, oxygen when you're running, for example. Then do those three.
Over a couple minutes period.
Exactly.
Yeah, I couldn't do that test because my OSATs are like 77%.
That's not good.
I don't know what that means.
I think you're supposed to be in the 90s, aren't you?
Well, you're supposed to be at like between 98 and 100, but I have a weird heart condition.
Oh, you're gonna die of the Rona.
My blood. Yep.
Yeah.
So
get Rona.
So
and then blame Trump when it happens because
hang on. Well, hang on.
No.
So we've got some comments here to go through. Dirty.
Shit. Yeah.
There is a chat. Dirty Wop Bastard says people who are local Democrats won't be swayed at all. Joe Biden could stab a baby on live TV, and most on the left will be fine with it. My experience. The left demands your allegiance. That's true. That is entirely true. Trump. And so that's the thing. You can't be going. There are going to be the partisan voters that will vote for whoever, even if they shoot someone on TV. That's not going to change.
Yeah.
What you are going to change are the independent voters in the middle. And I don't care what any crazy tinfoil hat people say. There are people in the middle that do change their opinion over time that will say, well, I don't know, the economy's doing really well, so I guess I'm going to vote for Trump because I have a job. And those people do exist, and they're actually a decent proportion of the electorate. And the proof of this is there are very wide-ranging differences between elections. If people were just partisan all the time, it would always be one party winning. It's not. We see massive differences. So it's not that everyone's partisan. There are independent voters that can be swayed. So this stuff is important. And RK Production just says he's laughing at Biden, which that's half the reason we're doing this.
Everyone's laughing at him. It's
Ready?
a joke.
Let's continue.
Yeah.
Hey, all you teachers out there, not that many of you are going to die, so don't worry about it.
That's
don't
true.
worry about it. Come on.
Well, okay, really quick.
He's on drugs.
Just gonna pause this. Just gonna pause.
Pause.
Stop! Shut up! Shut
keep
up!
it
I'm
going.
talking. Shut up! I'm talking. I'm gonna crack the whip here.
This is great.
All the teachers already vote Biden. He's not changing anyone's minds.
Yeah.
What we're going to make sure that we open safely. And by the way, all you teachers out there, not that many.
I'm sorry,
of you
I was mean to
die, so don't
everyone.
worry. Inconsistent with person is.
Why are we backing up?
Infected. You
I
need
wanna
to be able
hear
to
the full
trace. You
context
need to
of
be
it.
able to provide all the resources that are needed to do this, and that is not inconsistent with saying that what we're going to make sure that we open safely. And by the way, all you teachers out there, not that many of you are going to die, so don't worry about it. Come on.
President Trump.
Come on.
Don't pause. Play.
No, okay. That last. No. Help me out here. That last
Please follow
comment there
up with
about
By the way, I will
teachers.
say this.
Stop it. I'm trying to ask a question.
We have to keep
That
going.
was-
We're 2 hours in.
Shush. We're fine. If it takes a while, if we have to stop early, we have to stop early. But I'd rather discuss this properly
We're
and in
only
depth.
ever gonna touch coronavirus stuff.
Whatever. Fine. It's all that life is these days. His comment there about teachers, was that him taking the piss out of Trump saying it's going to be fine? Or is that him legitimately trying to reassure teachers?
taking
because
the piss.
I tell you what, teachers' response to coronavirus has pissed me off more than anything fucking else. We have had stories where teachers won't help students up if that student falls over. They will make other students help them up. Teachers will genuinely
check out
Zenn,
you need to check out you have to check out our stream that we did about abolishing the teachers unions. Definitely need to watch that.
I can believe it.
So
yeah.
All right, we have to keep going.
Okay.
If you go and look what's happened to New York, it's a ghost town. It's a ghost town. And when you talk about plexiglass, these are restaurants that are dying. These are businesses with no money. Putting up plexiglass is unbelievably expensive, and it's not the answer. I mean, you're going to sit there in a cubicle wrapped around with plastic. These are businesses that are dying, Joe. You can't do that to people.
I love
He's
that.
right.
Take a look at New York and what's happened to my wonderful city for so many years. I loved it. It was vibrant. It's dying. Everyone's leaving New York.
Take a look at
right.
what New York has done in terms of turning the curve down in terms of the number of people dying. And I don't look at this in terms of the way he does.
You
Blue
do
states
not.
and red states.
You do
All the
not
United
want to
States.
say
And look
New
at the
York has
states
done
that
a
have
good
the
job.
spike.
Yeah, no.
the coronavirus.
Oh, he just lost New York.
They're the states in the Midwest.
He
They're the
didn't lose
states in
New
the
York,
upper
but he
Midwest.
lost some
That's where the
voters there.
spike is occurring significantly.
Yeah.
But they're all Americans. They're all Americans. And what we have to do is say, wear these masks, number one. Make sure we get the help that the businesses need that has money's already been passed to do that. It's been out there since the beginning of the summer, and nothing's happened.
President, New York has lost more than 40,000 people, 11,000 people in nursing homes.
President Trump, what
when
about...
you say spike, take a look at what's happening in Pennsylvania, where they've had it closed. Take a look at what's
what the hell?
Why?
No. Hold
Why
on,
is it paused?
Why?
I'm fact checking.
No.
No, fact
Stop
check while it
pausing
plays.
happening with your friend in Michigan. Where her
This
husband
stream is an escape.
It's been like a
I don't
prison.
want to think about COVID anymore.
You came to the wrong stream, boy.
You know what? I'm making an executive decision. We are going to skip past Corona. We are going to skip back coronavirus.
You know where it ends then.
I don't know. I am going
Finally.
We're going to have at least a half hour here, maybe a little more, where we're going to...
This is not in the spirit of EFAP.
I understand that, but we are not EFAP, we are EBAP. I'm trying to see...
Listen, we paused for the bullshit. All of the COVID thing is the bullshit. We already paused once.
So we need to keep pausing
on it. On. No, it was one instance of bullshit.
Look,
therefore, one pause, one instance, 2 scoops, 2 terms.
2 scoops, 2 terms. All right, hang on. Let's find it here.
Okay, so hang on. Let's go back a bit because we missed it.
Stop.
No, they're talking about election interference.
Hang on. Look, I'm trying to.
Joe got 3.5.
Buddy.
Trying to find
this election that Russia has been involved.
Both countries.
We're going to move on. About
average contribution $43.
All right, we're going to move on to our next section, which is national security. And I do want to start with the security of our elections and some breaking news from overnight. Just last night, top intelligence officials confirmed again that both Russia and Iran are working to influence this election. Both countries have obtained U.S. voter registration information, these officials say, and Iran sent intimidating messages to Florida voters. This question goes to you.
What's up?
I just wanted to mention that she was speaking about the election and whatnot, and I just immediately thought, and I thought I'd remind, or at least let everyone know, that earlier today, has anyone heard the news about Brett Kavanaugh?
No.
What Kavanaugh said about the Wisconsin election shenanigans?
I've heard there's been election dodginess. That there's been something going on in Texas, I believe.
Look. He basically said that for the sake of stability, that if the election is swung randomly after election day, to the other direction, that he would vote to nullify it.
Right.
To nullify the swing?
Yeah, nullify the swing.
I think.
Right.
And I think that's the right way to do it. And I think that's also what Barrett would do, and she should do that.
So can any of you
and I think everyone would lose their minds over it, but I think it'd be funny.
Can any of you enlighten me and any non-Americans? What the fuck has been going on in Texas with their votes? Because I heard some shit was going down.
There was a Veritas leak. Basically, they found Veritas tagged along undercover with some ballot. She's a ballot harvester, but the technical term is I forget what it is. But she's basically the person that goes out and helps people fill out their ballots if they desire assistance. You have to be able to provide that. And basically she was telling people how to vote,
right?
And she would tell old people how to vote. And there's video out there, you can look at Veritas to look it up, and she's and she admits afterwards, she's yeah, if anybody caught me doing that, I'd go to jail. So there's obvious election interference there. That's obvious ballot harvesting. And the point I think that everyone's making here with all this is the whole early voting, the whole mail-in voting thing, that is so susceptible to the part of the reason why voting on the same day is so secure is there's so little time to fudge the numbers, right? You have less than 12 hours to do it. because as soon as polls start closing on the East Coast, they start counting. And small constituencies are done usually within a couple hours. Like 2 hours, they've already got results up. They're already reporting the results to the state, and the state is publishing those results. And you know, they go out to all the news agencies that have got their big boards with the United States up there. Like, let's go to Ohio and see how the counties are voting there, right? And a county that has maybe like 10,000 people in it is going to get done within a couple hours, and that's going to be that's already going to be there.
I swear I saw someone was saying you need to vote in person, and that it was like something had been confirmed that something was happening with mail-in voting, and I can't remember who was saying it.
There have been instances where a couple of people who like mailmen have just basically dumped a whole bunch of ballots, and here's why the mail-in ballot thing that like okay, well, they dumped a bunch of ballots. They could have been for Biden or Trump, right? Well, no, because you can tell by the address the likelihood of who they're going to vote for. If that neighborhood votes for one side, Democrat or Republican overwhelmingly, you can easily shove a constituency in one direction or the other by simply just throwing out all the votes from one block that normally votes Republican or normally votes Democrat.
That happened in Pennsylvania, was a very red district.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying about Brett Kavanaugh. It seems like the Supreme Court is positioning themselves to respond to a rejection of like a ton of mail-in ballots, right? Just an ungodly number of ballots are probably going to be rejected, and you know, that's going to freak a lot of people out. So that's why I think he said that this early on in response to some kind of Wisconsin case over the ballot situation and how long is it is going to take to apply. But he said it in general. He said, well, you know, if the election suddenly swings a different direction, you know, and I
agree. If it comes out that election night Biden is clearly the winner, then he should win. I don't care about all this extra mail-in ballot shit. If whoever at the end of the night, you know, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, we should have an idea who the next president is. It shouldn't be.
I mean, I'm gonna be fucking questioning the American people's sanity, but yeah.
But the point is, if you're legitimately elected, you're legitimately elected. You cannot pull the same shit that the Democrats have been pulling for 4 years, where they're like, this was an illegitimate presidency. No, it wasn't. The Electoral College voted him in. He is the president.
Well, that would happen in December.
Right. But you understand what I'm saying is, we cannot play by that playbook, because that's what makes the people we oppose the bad people, if that makes sense. So, all right, let's go ahead and continue.
All right.
You, Mr. Vice, what would you do to put an end to this threat? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Oh, very quick point before we continue. She mentioned that Iranian intelligence had been sending threatening messages to Florida voters, I believe. Mm-hmm. It's interesting that she left out the context of that. I commented on that.
Sorry.
It's fine. I commented on that when it happened while I was watching it with my wife. Basically, I said, it's interesting she didn't mention that those Iranians were posing as right-wingers, trying to scare, because the whole point was they're trying to make Donald Trump supporters look bad.
Yeah.
So they didn't do that to support Trump. They did it to support Biden. And that's interesting context that was left off there. It's being portrayed as if Trump is just letting the Iranians intimidate voters, when no, the Iranians are specifically intimidating people to make the right look bad. So,
right.
Anyway, let's continue.
I made it clear, and I ask everyone else to take the pledge. I made it clear that any country, no matter who it is, that interferes in American elections will pay a price. They will pay a price. And it's been overwhelmingly clear this election, I won't even get into the last one, this election, that Russia has been involved, China has been involved to some degree, and now we learn that Iran is involved. They will pay a price if I'm elected. They're interfering with American sovereignty. That's what's going on right now. They're interfering with American sovereignty. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't think the president said anything to Putin about it. I don't think he's talked with him a lot. I don't think he said a word. I don't know why he hadn't said a word to Putin about it. And I don't know what he has recently said, if anything, to the Iranians. My guess is he'd probably be more outspoken with regard to the Iranians. But the point is this, folks. We are in a situation where we have foreign countries trying to interfere in the outcome of our election. His own national security advisor
go back to the
told
foreign
him that.
companies.
Right. Yeah. Don't forget about all the money from China, all the money from Russia, all the money from Ukraine. That's not foreign interference in the political process of the United States.
It'll come up.
This is just so rich coming from Biden.
And now we're learning that
But I will say, it's like, if we didn't know other things, technically what he is saying here is perfectly fine.
It didn't age well though, because now we know that the Bidens got money from China and Russia.
But we knew it at the time, I think, but still,
yes.
Technically.
Now we have audio. Now we actually have audio.
There's confirmation. There's confirmation. Well, so Tucker Carlson and 8 o'clock had what's his toes on, the guy who was on the email chains who confirmed that these are real. He supposedly had audio of people from Biden's campaign asking him to not publish this stuff, and I don't know if that's true. Unfortunately, we had set this up before that came out, so I just basically, my wife set the DVR, so hopefully that's there when we get to it. I'm excited to see if that was actually true, but let's continue.
What is happening with his buddy? Well, I shouldn't. Well, I will. His buddy, Rudy Giuliani, he's being used as a Russian pawn. He's being fed information that is Russian, that is not true.
He's just like,
and then what happens? Nothing happens.
Happening.
And then you find out that everything is going on here about Russia is wanting to make sure that I do not get elected the next president of the United States.
Remember when Obama was like Red Scare against Romney?
Oh yeah, the 80s called. They want their foreign policy back.
Yeah.
In fairness, I would like that foreign policy back.
I would too. Fuck the commies. But basically, what Biden just said is factually false. That is a lie, outright lie. It is not Russian disinformation. In fact, even the FBI was like a compromised organization that is just corrupt from the inside out. Like the top brass of the FBI are so fucking corrupt. Have even said it's not Russian disinformation. The director of national intelligence, Richard Grenell, I think his name is. Is that do I have that right, Alex? The DNI.
Who? I'd have to look. I'm not exactly sure what his name is. Also, I think it is Grenell.
He said that it's not Russian disinformation, right? And so, basically, I think what that stems from is back like a month ago, someone reported that they thought that that Russia was preparing to disseminate disinformation. And I think the timing of that would be interesting. I have a theory. This is entirely a theory, not corroborated, don't know for sure. But I have a theory that what had happened was basically they had got the Biden camp had gotten an inkling that the guy who was handing in the laptop over to Giuliani, or the copy of it, basically they got wind of that and were like, fuck, damage control big time. How can we spin this? I know, let's preempt it before they have enough time to go through everything, because there's a ton of stuff that you have to go through. You don't just publish that right away. You have to say, because you can't just publish. If there, for example, if there's actually legitimate child pornography on there, you can't just publish that. That's illegal, right? So you have to sift through this stuff to make sure you're not doing anything illegal, and then publish it through the New York Post. But in that time frame, somebody could have said, fuck, because they're allegedly, and I don't know if this is corroborated or not, but allegedly the store owner was called by Hunter Biden's lawyer before the New York Post article went out to say, please give us the laptop back. And so my point is, if he says, eat shit, I gave it to Giuliani, now they're scrambling and say, we got to cut this off at the pass. So they preempted it by telling some journalist at the Wall Street Journal, we think that Russia might be sending out disinformation. Now, all of a sudden, they've planted the seed that when this stuff comes out, they can say, see, there's the Russian disinformation. This is classic Steele dossier stuff. That is how the Steele dossier was put together. Dickhead from the UK, sorry, Zenn, would say, I heard rumors that Trump had hookers piss on a bed that the Obama slept on. And then he would tell that to some reporter. A reporter would say, anonymous sources say the Trump campaign, or that Trump had hookers pee on Obama's bed in Moscow. And then Steele would take that report and cite it in his report as evidence that it happened. This is exactly the same playbook.
I will say the piss dossier did not reach England. It did not. Mostly when people talk about Trump, they go, he's kind of dumb, isn't he? That's like the limit of it. People, he says really stupid things and he talks funny. We don't really like get those kinds of stories here, really. People hate him, but like we don't get that level of like propaganda here.
Well, the point is that the Steele dossier was the entire basis of the FISA warrant to spy on Trump.
Right.
So that's a whole nother fucking can of worms, where basically the Obama administration did something that would make Nixon blush. And so there's that. That's a whole other thing. This stuff with the Hunter Biden thing is just all I'm trying to say is that they're simply, I think the theory I have is that the whole Russian disinformation thing was planted by the Biden campaign when they found out that the laptop had gotten out and specifically had gotten into the hands of the Trump campaign through Giuliani. So, all right, let's continue.
They know I know them, and they know me. I don't understand why this president is unwilling to take on Putin when he's actually paying bounties to kill American soldiers in Afghanistan, when he's engaged in activities...
That's not true.
Yeah, I was about to say...
Unverified.
Where is this from? Where is this claim from?
There were a couple of anonymous sources that said that was the case. And again, the DNI came out and said, this is not
Unverified.
True. This was looked into and found to be false. We've already done our homework. This was found to be false. It's not the case. And the great thing about it is this Richard Grinnell guy, definitely follow him on Twitter. He is really vocal. He is very upfront about screw the establishment. We should do things the right way. And he basically is like arguing with these journalists. These journalists are publishing these things saying like the bounty thing or the Russian disinformation thing. And he's like, this is literally my job. You all are idiots. This is lies. These are lies. You're spreading
I think this is where I got the gif of just Trump looking smug. Is just him right now, by the way.
Very good.
Actually paying bounties to kill American soldiers in Afghanistan, when he's engaged in activities that are trying to destabilize all of NATO. I don't know why he doesn't do it.
No. He's not engaged. So NATO, right? As you know, is the alliance that opposed the Warsaw Pact in the 80s, and then when that fell, basically became the world police. NATO was in charge of it was a NATO operation to go to Afghanistan. It was a NATO operation to go into Iraq the second time. It's Western Europe and now some of Eastern Europe and the United States. The problem with NATO was during the Cold War, the West was all scared shitless of the Soviet Union. So the West Germany and France and Italy and everything was like, fuck it, yeah, we're gonna pay to make sure that we don't get overrun by the communists. We don't want this. And you mean to tell me that Margaret Thatcher wasn't paying her fair share to make sure the UK was going to be able to defend against the commies? Absolutely, she was. In fact, and even when it wasn't involving communism, she went down and smacked the Argentinians in the dick for a little bit. So, obviously, the point I'm making is NATO was pulling their weight. The Cold War ends. NATO goes, why do we have any armies anymore? The threat to the world, the Soviet Union, is gone. There's no reason to worry about this anymore. Let's just all basically disband our armies. The armies for Europe are tiny. They are so tiny compared to the rest of the world. And like, especially the navies. The navies are almost non-existent except for the UK's. And then, so the point is, NATO hasn't been pulling their weight. And basically because of the assumption that the Americans are going to funnel tons of money into their military and basically pay for their defense. So now they can go ahead and say, well, now we can funnel more money into our socialized health care, our pension benefits, all these other things. And Trump has said, wait a minute, there's a quota that every country must pay a certain percentage of their GDP to stay in NATO, right? And countries like Germany, like the quota is like 3% or something like that, which isn't that much compared to the United States. The United States pays much more percentage of GDP than the rest of those countries, right? But even some countries weren't even meeting 3%. I think Germany was at like 0.5% to 1%. And Germany's a big economy. Like they're one of the biggest economies in the world, and they couldn't muster a few more GDP percentage points towards their military. Like, come on. And so basically Trump was saying, NATO needs to pull their own weight. If you don't pay your fair share, we'll kick you out. And so that's pissed off Angela Merkel and Macron and all these, Belgium and the Netherlands, because like, oh, this rough American is trying to tell us spiffing Europeans how to live our lives and that we need to pay more money. And so what he's referencing, to tie this all up, what Biden is referencing is NATO has come to a bit of a crossroads where these other countries in it are grumbling that they have to pay their fair share of GDP in order to stay in NATO. And this has caused a bunch of leaders in NATO, which are mostly EU countries, to go, do we really want to be in an alliance with America? Whereas if you think about it, whose fault is this?
Do it. Leave.
Is it? Yeah. Do you mean to tell me? You mean to tell me the Europeans are, with their tiny fucking armies, are going to leave NATO and be just as protected as they were before? Do it. Absolutely do it. Go ahead. The United States does not need Europe in order to defend itself. If anything, we've been paying for Europe to defend itself. So
I feel like you should read some Peter Zeihan.
Yeah, send me some stuff. That would be great. But
yeah. He has like 3 books and also like a lot of lectures about it, where he talks to these like big like corporate trading group conferences.
Yeah.
The people who manage like the shipments and all that stuff. Basically saying that the logical conclusion is that the United States are going to withdraw from world police.
Well, that's what Trump has done. Trump has said, out of Afghanistan, out of Iraq, we're not going into Syria. We're gonna go ahead and slap the Syrians and the Russians in with a Tomahawk missile strike, right? Mm-hmm. But we're not going to put boots on the ground. We're not going to get involved in that. We're not going to. We're just going to say, stop dicking around, don't do stupid shit, and we won't get involved. And they stopped, and we didn't get involved. So what war has Trump started? None. What wars has he continued, really? Not basically against ISIS. And if there's anyone out there that was worth it, it's fuck ISIS. Absolutely blow them off the face of the planet. But
I mean, a war against ISIS is barely a war. It's
it was
anti-insurrection, really.
Well, not entirely. After they got a hold of basically a lot of territory and armored vehicles, they became almost a regular army. So there were like tank-on-tank engagements involving ISIS, like using like M60 tanks from the Iraqi army going up against like T-72s of the Syrian army, like Cold War style. But the point is, also, he ended that war. When was the last time you heard about ISIS in the news? Never.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we talked about this the other day, that the reason you don't is because the war's over, and the press don't want to give Trump the credit for it. Because if they say ISIS defeated, or mostly defeated, they don't hold any territory anymore, which they don't, then Trump won.
What Trump always gets rigged with is he always gets told bloody he always gets he's pulling out and abandoning our allies.
Yeah, like the Kurds.
Bring the troops home from what I understand.
It's
and
amazing.
It's the one thing. It's the one thing I love that Tim Pool brings up. It's like, wow, all of the people who used to hate war in the Middle East are now really, really pro-war, aren't they?
Right, which just goes to show that that whole anti-war stance by the establishment Democrats was purely a political move.
Yeah.
This whole neocon, neolib thing with, invading other countries, that's not just the Republicans, that's also the Democrats in power. Tons of people voted for the Iraq War. Tons of representatives voted for the Iraq War, said, A-OK, let's go screw over Saddam Hussein, right? For what reason? Well, he's a jerk. We think he's got WMDs, but either way, he's a jerk, right? So screw him. George Bush wanted to go finish what his dad started, but the point is those people supported it, and then they were like, "Oh, this is terrible. What are we doing here? Our young and brightest are dying in Iraq. Like, why? What is this? Bring them home." And then all of a sudden, it comes to be disadvantageous to them. Oh my God, we're abandoning our allies. So I think, yeah, well, we've been going for almost 2.5 hours.
This is EFAP, ladies and gentlemen.
EBAP. We don't want a copyright strike from EFAP.
EFAP will copyright strike us more or less.
No, they won't.
We can always do a part 2. We can always do a part 2.
We can try. It's going to be hard because I'm going to be very busy for the next few days.
Yeah,
like tomorrow and Thursday. Well, yeah, it's Tuesday. It's a week from today.
Well,
yeah.
What are you doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday? I'm available all the time. So are any of you available over the weekend?
Probably not.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, man. It's gonna be tough. So look,
it's Halloween weekend. I got stuff going on.
Yeah, and then the election's on Tuesday.
It's Halloween weekend.
I don't think we're gonna get to this, but here's what we can do for sure. Well, we can definitely do something after the election. Maybe an acceptance speech, or let's say, how about this?
That could be good.
If Trump wins, which I think he has a good chance of. I'm not one of these people that think he's going to win in a landslide. I don't think he's going to win in a landslide, but I think he will win. I think he's got a better chance than Biden. I'm going to be voting for him, so there's that bias out of the way.
Me too.
I think he's going to win, and if he does win, the absolute metric shit ton of salt that will be generated.
No, it's gonna be a hurricane of bullshit.
We should totally
all the news agencies.
You know what? Let's do our best if we can. And I know things are a bit in flux.
Week?
Let's do because that's going to be election night, and I'm going to be busy doing stuff with election night. Wednesday night.
Want to do stuff election night?
I'm going to be doing stuff with my family.
Oh, okay.
We're going to be sitting here going MAGA Trump 2020. Like we want that to be the case. So if he wins, I think Wednesday night we pick, I don't know, the Young Turks, Rachel Maddow, some like TDS having individuals, some TDS show, and just sit through that and just rake in all the salt. How does that sound?
It sounds great. I would
be the new Sargon. I swear to God.
I hope so.
Yes, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, listen, that sounds great. Phoenix and I are going to be streaming for election night more than likely.
So
could I get an invite on that, Ghosts?
Yeah, absolutely.
Whose channel will that be on?
Red Phoenix Rises.
Okay. I will go ahead.
Give him a subscription.
Yeah, I will put the link to his channel in the description here, and that way you guys, if you're listening, you can check it out, or if you're watching this afterwards, you can check it out. I will do my best. I will do my best to swing by and maybe stop in for a few minutes, but most of the night I will be focused with my.
Yeah, no, that sounds good.
All right.
Do you know what time that would be on?
Listen. The last election I was busy too. The last election I was having relations with
the time frame is probably going to be the polls are going to close on the East Coast probably around 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then
PM.
Well, also wait a minute, when is daylight savings? Right? Is daylight savings on the 1st or is that on the 8th?
Oh, do you guys adjust as well soon?
We're about to, yeah.
It'll go back to 8 p.m. is 1 a.m. for me. That actually is a lot better.
Yeah, give me a second. Yeah, it is going to be November 1st. So it is. We are the gap is going to go back to 5 hours, I think.
Thank God. Okay. Well, Ghost, if you add me on Discord, you can DM me when it's happening, and I might not be able to get there immediately, but I'll try and get there. I'll be available from about 8 p.m. in that case, easily.
And election streams, that stuff happens. That takes until 2-3 in the morning to get a good idea of what's happening. So it's a long haul stream. That's not going to be like very rapid pace. It's going to be a lot of shit posting and just hanging out. So
well, that's
definitely,
fun,
guys.
That's the thing.
So obviously, again, the United States presidential election is going to be on November 3rd. Obviously, if you are a registered voter, please go ahead and vote. Even if you will be voting Biden, although I doubt anyone's going to be watching this that's voting Biden. But if that's how you feel, please vote. And also check out Ghost of Alexandria and Red Phoenix Rising's Election Day stream. Red Phoenix Rises. What time do you think you're going to start?
I have no clue.
Okay, well, imagine it's probably you're probably going to start seeing
probably
data
when polls start closing.
Yeah, so probably around 8 o'clock Eastern time in the United States. So that's going to be when most polls start closing, I think. Maybe like 7 p.m. So definitely check that out. And
we are Eastern time. So
how late do you think you guys are going to go?
Oh, I have no idea.
I am so game for like a full 12-hour stream.
If you're
That's not going to happen, but it might get close.
If you're going to do it into when they start declaring who wins, that might be 2-3 o'clock in the morning. But I'll see about I'll see about stopping in for a bit. But all right,
sounds good.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Definitely check out Zenn and Ghost of Alexandria. They got some good stuff. Zenn does a lot of stuff on Twitch. I just yanked him from Twitch actually to come over here to do this. So definitely check those guys out, and check us out on Wednesday of next week. That's November 4th, probably around 8 p.m. Eastern time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and we're going to probably be going over, hopefully, some wonderful salts. So have a great evening, guys.